Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Jaya Radha Madan Mohan, Radhe. Jaya Mahaprabhu, Jaya Mahaprabhu. Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha, Jaya Anantadev, Lakshmi Narasingha, Jaya Anantadev. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev. श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रीमती डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरणानंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की। ISKCON फाउंडर आचार्य, PPT फाउंडर आचार्य, सिर द होल वर्ल्ड श्रील प्रभुपाद की। अंतकोटि वैष्णव वृंद की, नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की। ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की, नवदीप क्षेत्र मायापुर धाम की, गंगा मई यमुना मई की, श्रीमती तुलसी महारानी की। संवेद गौर भक्त वृंद की, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga, Sri Prabhupada ki jai.
Welcome back to the second day of the Sankirtan orientation session. We're going to begin today's session with Navina Nirada Prabhu. He joined the Hare Krishna movement when he was 15 years old and immediately took to the intense hearing and chanting of Prabhupada's books and also distributing them. And here in America, during that time, which was what year?
84.
1984, we started noticing at the top of the Sankirtan newsletter, Nico Pellizzeri. And he stayed at the top of the newsletter for years and years. And so we always wondered, and of course, Navina Nirada Prabhu has distinguished himself throughout the ISKCON society by continuing the distribution of Prabhupada's books and the intense reading of them. He's now working on his Bhakti Vedanta degree. And for several years, more than several, he was the minister in ISKCON for book distribution, traveled all over the world, in fact, several times a year, circling the globe. He teaches book distribution at his Vaishnava Academy in Mayapur. And now, somehow or other, by our good fortune, Krishna's grace, he's keeping his base here in San Francisco, opening San Francisco to the Krishna consciousness movement, or reopening it. And this morning he's going to share his insights and realizations about book distribution on the streets, where no one can excel, Navina Nirada. And so please, let's give him a warm ISV welcome.
Hare Krishna. Now, I better say something good, huh? Thank you, Vaisheshika Prabhu. You're the reason why I'm here, and and I'm very grateful to be here with all of you. You already got started last night, so you're already on your way. Today's a packed program, so we'll start without further ado. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Giranjana Shalakaya Chakshurumritam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitannamanobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupam Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhunitananda Sidvaiti Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripadam aham vande Sri Guru Dinataranam Paramanandamaravam Sri Chaitanyeshwaram Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. Well, thank you all for coming and taking part in this Sankirtan orientation seminar. This place, ISKCON of Silicon Valley, is a very special place here in North America, where book distribution is very vibrant due to the leadership of His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu and all the team ISV. So we're happy to host this program here and to take part in it. We're going to speak about how to distribute books on streets. And streets are readily available. They're everywhere, because that's how people travel these days. So if you want to meet people, just go out onto the streets. Of course, there are unlimited ways how to distribute Prabhupada's books, and you will explore some of those methods. You can go door to door, you can go specific locations, but most people are moving on the streets, because that's what streets are meant for. So if you want to meet people, go out to the streets. And even better if you're in a strategic location where streets meet, like intersections, you will see that a lot of traffic, a lot of people moving around. So how to find your right place? Well, some of you might like it a little more quiet, some may like it a little more busy. Depends on your age, your mindset, your personal disposition. I remember when we were young, we really were just looking for the busiest spot in town, which was usually the walking street right in the center middle of it, which is like in India in comparison like Dadar station, when you have like an overpass over the railway where everybody just walks and people come at you like really fast. And so choose a place that's kind of not threatening, but also not too quiet. Because sometimes if you're just on the street next to your house, it might be a little too quiet. Of course, you can go around on a walk and you just carry books with you, and whoever you meet, you just talk to them. And that also works. You can do a few books like that every day, just by going on your walk. And we do like that. So Srila Prabhupada himself personally, he gave the example. He went out, and back in the days, he went to tea stalls where people would drink tea and coffee and read newspapers. And so he would go up to them and say, "Excuse me, sir, where are you coming from?" He's saying, introducing these Back to Godhead magazine that he had published, and he was personally distributing them. So we should never think, oh, I'm an engineer, I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I'm a businessman, I'm a somebody. I can't just go up to Tom, Dick, and Harry and talk to them. Well, Prabhupada did it. Lord Nityananda and Haridas Thakur did it. They went out door to door and onto the streets talking to people. So that's what people do. They talk. That's what happens usually. They may. So it's very easy. You just have to find a place which is not too far away, because people are pretty much everywhere, but where people are comfortable to talk to you. Like if you'd be at a place where people just want to get away as fast as possible, then it would be hard for them to stop. So find a place where you can actually spend a moment with them. And I didn't see what you did last night. Did you go through the step-by-step how to stop people and how to interact with them?
This morning.
That's going to come up later on. Okay, so we'll keep it generic, but still try to be specific. There's a Chinese saying that if you don't have a smiling face, don't open a shop or a restaurant. Because people take one look at you and they think, oh no, I just lost my appetite. I'm not going to eat here. In fact, I was in New York, and I remember a place which before, even if I was hungry, I just changed my mind whenever I passed by it. But now that management has changed, even if I'm not hungry, I think like, hey, let's go in there and let's eat something. Because if the people are nice, then you want to spend time with them. So before going out onto the street, look into the mirror and ask yourself, would I like to talk to this person? So look nice and behave nice. And the face is the index of the mind. So just by having a pleasant disposition, people will want to deal with you. They will want to talk with you. And sometimes people just want to avoid you. You ever have that? Some friends, they just want to avoid you. They just, go around you. And you think like, what is it? What's wrong with me? So it really starts with doing our sadhana, by getting up early in the morning and chanting good rounds. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And then anyone who will meet on the street, they will just kind of have this, whatever it is that you have, I want it. What is it that you have that makes you special, that makes you happy? I want it. And the opposite is also true. When we are not in a good state of consciousness, people will take one look at us and they will decide, whatever you have, I want nothing to do with it. I just want to get as far away from you as possible. So, to work on ourselves, to improve our sadhana, to study Prabhupada's books on a daily basis is really the foundational principle. Then you will become like a magnet. When you're like a magnet, then all the little stuff gets attracted to the magnet. It's just naturally drawn towards it. Like you can see, Srila Prabhupada, he had such a gravity, such a depth of Krishna consciousness. It created a vortex where countless people were just drawn to him. They were just attracted to him. And they complied with whatever he asked them to do. So then naturally when you meet people, it's helpful if you talk to them, because although nonverbal communication also works, and we'll speak a word or two about that, but it does help if you talk to them. So the first thing usually we do is we make eye contact. Not that you stare at people and you stare them down, but you just look at them, kind of like, hey, I've seen you, yeah, and you see me, so, you know, we got a thing going on. And some people will try to avoid you, and some people will just smile right back at you. So depending on how the disposition is, then you will get an idea. Does this person want to talk to me or not? You can still like pretend like you didn't see the evil eye that they just gave you, and you just, you know, nonchalantly go up to them and talk to them, and sometimes they get over it, but sometimes then they will avoid responding. So you see, this person is not very likely to want to talk to me, so would not put too much energy into that. On the street, usually stopping people is a big thing, because it's a street, people are moving, it's busy, there may be some noise. So it helps to have some opening lines that are very catchy, that are catching people's attention. So like, I see you're wearing your badge, your tags, you know, so Raga Sindhu, right? Yeah. Very good. Where are you coming from? Connecticut. That's where all the nice people live, right? Yes, I knew it, just by seeing you. So just say something nice about them. It's not complicated. In fact, we can do this right now. Turn to the person next to you and say something nice about them. Hey, Vaishnav. Nice jacket. You like that jacket? Keeps you warm, right? Yeah? Good. Okay, turn around. Say something nice back to the other person, if you haven't done so. Was that difficult? It's easy, right? It's super easy. Just say something to appreciate the person. I was just in New York in the subway, and it was very cold, even down there. And the devotees are doing Harinam, and they're distributing books. And in the New York subway, people are just running. They're just running. But there's some devotees who I was with, one especially Mahotsa, he just tells people, oh, I love your sweater. Oh, I love your beard. I love this. I love that. All day long, he's just appreciating people. And people are like, hey, that's nice. Nobody ever said that to me. Okay, let me talk to this guy for a moment. You know, this guy knows what it's all about because he appreciated me. So become a very appreciative person, and you will see how people will immediately return the favor and appreciate you by spending a little time with you. So you need to catch people's attention. And you do that by looking at them, by talking to them. I just ask questions, because questions are hooks, and we'll speak more about that today as the presentation goes on. So I ask everybody, so where are you from, Vaishnav? Chicago. Really? Is it cold there? Yeah? Yeah? You like California? It's nice here, huh? Okay, welcome to California. Here, let me show you one of these. So, everybody likes to speak about themselves, where they're from, what they do, what their job is, what they studied. It's personal. That's how people interact. So, not intimidating questions, not like, okay, how much money do you make, right? I want to know it right now, you know? Like before taxes and after taxes. What kind of car do you drive? You know? But if you tell people, oh, you know, that's a nice jacket. Where do you got that jacket? People will spend half an hour telling you about their jacket. So you have to know what's socially acceptable and what's not acceptable. And that depends on the culture. If you tell somebody nice jacket in certain places in Europe, they will look at you like you're weird. But here, it's completely okay. It's perfectly all right. You talk about dress, you talk about, you know, different things. Once we were at a car wash in Burlingame, and we sat down as the car was being washed, and Vaisheshika Prabhu turned to the lady next to him, middle-aged lady, and said, oh, very nice dog. What kind of dog is that? And as she was going to explain about her most cherished dog, I just went to the car to get the Bhagavad Gita, because he knew that if she starts talking to him, she will end up taking the book. And so what you say initially may not be, this is the Bhagavad Gita, this is the absolute truth, you need this. It may just be to establish a rapport, to establish a relationship, to establish some trust. The primary reason why people don't take books is not because they're not interested, but because they don't trust you. Unless there is that element of trust, why should I take anything from you? Why should I speak to you even? And how do we build trusting relationship? The first step is open communication. You greet them, you say something nice about them, you ask them something, you engage in a little bit of dialogue, and then you give them the book. Of course, you can also stand on the street, and we see certain groups do that, but we don't see them actually talking to many people. There's a lot of people who just pass by, they may take a look, but because they just stand there like, you know, it's not very attractive. So if you want to increase your success, learn how to ask the right kind of questions that are relatable. I just go up to people and ask them, yoga or meditation? Just as an entry question, yoga or meditation? And then they're a little puzzled, but oftentimes they'll say this one or that one or both or none, but they start smiling because they see, like, you know, like you're more intellectual or more spiritual? Huh? Or where are you from? Just get them to talk about their place. Or, how's it going? Okay? Okay is the new great, right? You're doing okay. That's good. Wonderful. Yeah. So, just say something to break the ice, because initially there's a bit of ice there, you know? The ice age, things are a little stuck, people are a little, you know, timid, a little shy. So you have to overcome that just by speaking about something. It can be the weather, it can be anything. Huh? So, and then you introduce the book. But first you need to capture their attention. If people don't want to talk to you, I got very good advice for you. Let them move on. There's 8 billion people on the planet and counting, and there is no lack of people. If they don't want to talk to you, just let them go. Deal with the next person. So don't run after people who don't want to talk to you. And you will see how Krishna will send you people from all directions, and just deal with whoever is there. In a group of people, find out who is most receptive. Some people want to avoid you, some people are paying attention. Deal with those who pay attention. It's like in a classroom. Some people mind their own business and some people actually connect. So you have to just respond to them. And then, as early as possible, put the book in their hand, because they need to have something that they can hold on to. Put the book in their hand. And people have 3 questions in their minds. Those 3 questions are, who are you, what's this book, and what's in it for me? That's the bottom line. If you can answer these 3 questions in the first 23 seconds, most likely you have a good chance they will take a book. That's what everybody wants to know. Who are you? And what are you doing here? And what's this book? And what will I gain from this? In New York, they only want to know number 3. You know, what's in it for me? They don't mind about the rest. Just what's in it for me? So come to the point and just tell people what you're doing. And they will be relieved, because, you know, it could be something else. Could be. So be clear about who you are and what you're representing and what you want to do. That depends really on your mindset. When I started out, I was telling people so many different types of things. I was telling people, you know, I'm a monk and we're teaching this Vedic philosophy. And they looked at me and said, does your mother know that you're out here? You know, because I was 15, you know, so cops used to pick me up, call my mom. So then I changed, okay, I'm a student. They're like, okay, yeah, he looks like he's a student. All right, I'm studying this, you know, and I'm just trying to show this to people and sharing the knowledge. So whoever you are, you have to have a clear sense of identity, a sense of self. Did you ever deal with somebody who was confused about their identity? It's kind of difficult to deal with them because, you know, you can't really gauge them. You don't really know where they're at. So really figure out who are you, and, you know, you can tell, you know, look, I'm working like this professionally, and this is what I do for a community service, you know. And that's acceptable. People like that. Companies like that. It's part of their, you know, part of their diversity program. So know what you're doing and how to present it in a way that people can relate to it. It's one thing to make sense of it yourself. It's another thing to communicate it so people can appreciate that. And sharing knowledge, helping people, that's something that everybody can relate to, because people are suffering. They're not in a good space. So we want to help them. And sometimes it's difficult to come straight out and tell people what we're doing, because they may not be able to relate to it or to appreciate it like that. So just put it in a way that people can relate to it. We're sharing this knowledge, we're presenting this culture, we're giving people an opportunity. And I usually stress on the positive, because speaking about negativities can kind of be a trap. It can kind of capture you. And so I try to speak about positives and just try to capture people's imagination, capture their mind. And then once you have something that piques their interest, you have to pay attention. When you say things and you say like, books on yoga meditation teaches you how to get free from stress, then sometimes you see a light goes on and they say, oh, yoga, or oh, meditation, or stress, or this or that. Then you pick up on that and you continue on that. Talk about what the person is interested in and talk about what's relevant to the person. It takes a little bit of experience to do that, but it's not too complicated. Of course, you may also just stand there and think, oh, no one's interested in nothing, nobody likes anything, and let them all just pass by. And you just wait till one person talks to you. And that may happen every hour or so, that somebody comes up to you and talks to you. But if you want to have more engagement, it's easier if you go out and you start approaching people and you start talking to them. Now, some people are rushing. It's very hard to stop them. Easier to just take people who are either standing or they're doing something. They may be talking on the phone, they may be typing, they may be eating, they may be waiting, they may be looking around, they may wait for their Uber, whatever, They may wait in front of a store, someone else of the family is inside shopping. Those are very easy targets, they're like a sitting duck. They're just sitting there, just waiting for you to go up to them and approach them. Sometimes that's not available, so you have to take people who are moving. So you have to learn how to stop them in a nice way. We used to do the tackle, which means you try to stop people by any way, by any means. But after a while, you learn how to deal more with the energy of the people. So you just say something and you see how the energy comes back and you see if this person is ready to talk to you or not. So usually I try to stop people just by projecting positive energy and just say something nice to them, welcome them. And like there's a group of people walking towards you, like students. So I ask them, so who's the smart one amongst you? And they start pointing at each other and laughing. And then I ask, so who's the money? Who's the rich kid? Okay. Or another thing, if they're a little older and they want to look like very cool, I ask them, so what's the name of the band? Like what's the name of your band? Like they're musicians or something, What's the name of your band? And then they kind of get puzzled and start laughing. And just something to break the ice and to capture their mind. You have business people, ask them, so how's business? Did you make your first million today yet? Or, how's things? Oh, you actually work. You actually got a job, huh? They're still paying you, right? So just say something that they can relate to. If it's ladies, usually ask them, so yoga or meditation? Or another thing that's very popular, are you spiritual? Especially if they're African American, you'd see how 80% of them just stop right in their tracks and say, yes, I am spiritual. You say, thank you, God bless, wonderful. So we're with the church, and we're showing this today to all the spiritual people. And you would be surprised how they just stop, pause, and they deal with it, because you appreciate who they are and what they're interested in. So I don't know how the time frame goes. We started a little late, so I think we have 7 minutes for questions and comments. Yes?
Is there a use the mic, please? Someone give her a mic. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Do we have to deal with, let's say, for example, if I'm talking to an Indian person or if I'm talking to a Westerner, is there a way that the approach is different?
Slightly. This is the generic stuff that's same with everybody, but slightly. Like you talk to an Indian person, you can say Namaste or even Hare Krishna, and they're like, yeah, it's cool, it's all right. And with a Western person, usually the generic hi, you know, is more suitable, so to speak. So just the first initial few words. And of course, you can get into something very specific, but initially I would just keep it kind of generic. And then you get more deep, you know, as the conversation evolves, so to speak. Because oftentimes you see, especially here, that you have people from Indian or Asian descent, and they want to be more American than the Americans. And if you go just, you know, cultural language and all that, they may not be comfortable with that. Sometimes they grew up here, and they may not be that religious. And sometimes you have Westerners who are very interested in, you know, what you have to present. So you just have to be a little subtle. And with experience, it will naturally evolve. Good thing is to use their name. If you see their name, you know, on the door or on them, or say something that's related to them. Like I was in Moscow airport, and as a young kid, you know, I had a guitar on his back and asked him, do you play the guitar? And he said, yeah, how did you know? You know? So, you know, you have all these people who go to the conventions and they're wearing these big badges, you know, like badges that are literally this big, you know, like if they're lost, so they can send them back to their company. And so you say, so, yeah, Mr. Sharma, huh? So you're here for the cyber security conference? Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's me. Yes. Yeah, nice meeting you too and talking to you. Yeah, do we know each other? Yeah. I said, do you look at this thing? You know, like you're walking around with a big screen on you. You know, like that. So just be a little perceptible, and see how it goes. But I would not get too much into, because one good thing about this place here is that the whole world is here, and diversity is the mantra of the age. So people are a little more culturally aware and sensitive, at least in some parts of the country. And so you see how you can project. But dress in a way that you're comfortable and that the other person is comfortable. Like when I go on Haight Street, I'm in dhoti. When I'm in the business district, I'm in pant and shirt, same on the campus. So you have to know a little bit like who your audience is and what you're dealing with.
Roji, one more question. Thank you for that. Like if I'm talking to a person, like for a minute, for most of the time, do I have to talk or do I have to let him ask some questions? Or like, is there any kind of, which one is better?
A
like,
ratio?
Uh-huh.
No, I usually ask the questions and let them do most of the talking. But by asking the questions, I steer the conversation where I want to go, you know. So I ask them where they're from, what they work, not like tak, but just to make conversation like that. Then you say a little something about yourself, and then you give them a chance to speak. Because people want to talk. If you just give them a chance to talk, they'll love you, you know. Because that's what people are looking for. Why social media is so big? Because people have a forum, a way of how to express themselves. And they're ready to pay billions for that, just because someone supposedly listens to them. But if you pay attention and you're actually interested, you're actually intrigued by the human factor, then people will sense that. Not like, yeah, keep on talking, and then, okay, now I can talk again, you know? You have to actually be interested in the person. And why should we be interested in a person? Because they're part of Krishna. And it's our duty to try to help them to reconnect with Krishna. So you can't fake it. It's not something superficial. You know, empathy, to have actual care and concern for the person, it has to come from your, not just philosophical understanding, but from your heart. That I want this person to be well. I want this person to improve in their life. And they can feel that. They can sense that. It's something very palpable, very plausible. And they will appreciate that, because everyone does. Not just dogs, but even humans. They feel, okay, Other points?
So one more question. So after I hand over the book, do I have to let him ask the questions on the
No,
Gita, or
I don't
should
like people to once they start asking the questions, they control the conversation. You should stay in the driver's seat. You give them an idea that they can, but you ask the questions. So we'll do that later on, how to present the book and how to ask the right questions, all that, that will come later on. But in general, if it's, I'll answer a short question, but I won't get into arguments or discussions because it's never ending. It can go on and on and on and on. And our point is not to discuss, to argue, to win any kind of discussions. We just want them to get the book and to get a good impression. So the main thing is how to stop them, how to make eye contact, how to project your positive spiritual energy that you have built up. And this is the proof of your sadhana. This is the proof of your practice. Am I actually doing my bhajan in an authentic and in a serious and diligent way? Or are people just walking by and just, not paying attention to me? If our sadhana is deep, people should be drawn to us. They should be like, hey, who are you? I want to meet you. I want to hang out with you. I want to become like you. I was out in Mayapur, going on my walk. I met 3 students on the road in front of the place where I stay. And so I gave them books and I asked them, so what's your mission in life? I ask everybody, what's your mission in life? Is it survival or is it enlightenment? And then they say, a bit of both, or either this or that, or enlightenment. Whatever it is, that's fine. We don't mind any answer. Because it leads to them taking the book. So I'd asked them and they said, what do you want to become? They said, we want to become like you. And it was a little shocking, it was a little surprising to me, because it's kind of straightforward, But they said, yeah, but first one was doing Sanskrit philosophy, another want to be a teacher. But they were in Mayapur for the specific purpose of figuring out how to become more devotional in their life. So learn how to work with questions and give people the information that they're looking for. Other questions? 1 or 2 more before we hand over? Yes?
I would like to ask you one question that we might be asked. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
We might get asked by people that what religion you're representing. So what would be our answer for that?
Well, what religion are you representing? It depends. Oftentimes people don't have a clear concept. You can say Hinduism, you can say Gaudiya Vaishnava, you can say the Vedic tradition. So all these answers are correct. You can also tell them this is a spiritual science. That's how Srila Prabhupada presented it. Because oftentimes people are into philosophy and spirituality, but they're not into, organized religion as such. So you have to see where the person comes from, with which connotation they ask that question, and then I would answer it like that. Does that work for you?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Mostly, what my personal understanding is, I do not like to define our movement is with any religious group, like it's more like spiritual or Vedic philosophy, what we are trying to reach out to people with. So Hinduism or any other religion, I think personally I do not want to define.
Yes, because people perceive it as sectarian or as exclusive. But when you present something in a more inclusive and in a more broad way, then people have a better chance of accepting it. Of course, sometimes they just want to know, okay, so who are you with, And you just have to be sure about who you are and what you do, So, Hare Krishna, of course, This is the most normal thing to be, but you have to see what can that person appreciate. Who are you? I am whoever you want me to be. I'm the person who is here to help you, to give you this greatest gift. So it's an art. It's an art, and we have to be truthful. At the same time, we'll realize that the absolute truth is vast, and there's different aspects, some of which people can appreciate, and some may be a little incomprehensible. So speak about the things that you feel strongly about, like what your convictions are.
Sure.
And that usually is very convincing, because if you're convinced about it, it's very easy to convince somebody else about it. But if you're not sure about it, then maybe leave that aside. Like, I'm not a big science guy, because it just wasn't my thing. So I usually don't get into the science stuff. That's just easier for me.
Me too.
So, you know what I mean. So speak about the things that you really feel like, yeah, you know, this is who we are and this is what we do. And people will relate to that.
Sure. Thank you, Prabhu.
Oftentimes I speak more about what we do than what we are, because ideologies, philosophies, people want to know, okay, so what is it practically? What are you doing here? What's the actual contribution to the landscape? What are you doing? I ask everybody, so what's your job? What do you do? And they say, oh, I go to school. So I say, that's great. So you're one of the good guys, right? I ask everybody, what's your contribution? How do you want to make a difference in the world? And that's more tangible. That's more relatable. Because we can talk philosophy, but the street is a very transient place. So you have a few moments to make an impression. People don't have long time to speak, so we're passing these, showing these to all the people who are here today, and people leave a donation. You will hear more about how to present the books, but if you learn the art of just carrying books with you wherever you go, wherever you are, you will see that Krishna opens so many opportunities for you to introduce Prabhupada's books to them. And people are out and about looking for things and, you know, buying things, and they want to engage with the world. So if you're at the right place at the right time, you can distribute a lot of books just by being there. So thank you for taking this opportunity to come here and explore the different avenues of book distribution. So even though you may think, I have a busy life, I got family, I got business, I got so many things to do, you hit the road every day. So just carry books with you in your car, wherever you are, when you commute, when you go shopping, when you go to the office, to the bank, to the post, just have books with you. Start talking to the person next to you in line. You ever been in a post office? It's kind of a rhetorical question, but you know, you stand there with 15 other people in line, and so what do? Look at the stuff that's there? Or you just start talking to the person next to you. Same in the shop, and you just pull out a book and you give it to them. And, you know, it's normal. It's perfectly all right. I know some devotees, they go into malls, they go into stores, and in between the aisles they distribute books. But you'll figure it out. Where there's a will, there's a way. Prabhupada was a man with a mission. He had a burning desire to share Krishna consciousness with everybody. And he didn't feel that any place was unsuitable or below par or not acceptable. He gave books to Captain Pandey on the boat. He gave books to every program, every university, wherever he had speaking engagements, because this is the sampradaya of the book. This is our gift, our contribution. Just like you go someplace to visit a relative, this is my last closing point. You want to bring a gift, something that's pleasing, that's beneficial, that's suitable for that person. But how do you know? You don't know that person so well, and you don't know what they're up to. How can you give them something that's really gonna make them happy? We are very fortunate that we have these books of Prabhupada, because this is the greatest gift that we can share to the world. And it gives us a carte blanche, an open invitation to go anywhere and everywhere. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said, by my order, you go out and become a teacher by distributing this knowledge. So if people have questions, who are you, what are you doing, are you allowed to do this? Of course. We are working for the man, and we're doing this for the benefit of everybody. So thank you for taking part in this training, and I hope to see you out Not just today, not just tomorrow, but for as long as possible. It's a lifetime mission. It's not something we just do when we have nothing else to do, but it's giving a real meaning and purpose, a real drive. You can see the difference in somebody who has a mission and a person who does not have a mission. You recognize it immediately by the way they walk, they talk. You can see this is a man with a mission, or this is a person who's just another floating device, you know, just another leaf blown in the wind. So the more we connect ourselves to this mission of Mahaprabhu, the more you will gain gravity, clarity, purpose, conviction, determination, all that good stuff. That's also useful for all the other aspects in life. But if we don't have this spiritual gravity, everything else is just a farce. It's just drama. It's just fake. Because it ends with the material dimension. Hare Krishna. August Prabhupada.
Our next speaker is Sri Krishna Purushottam Prabhu, who is the co-Sankirtan leader here at ISKCON of Silicon Valley. One more time for Navina Nirada Prabhu. We just got 30 years of experience given to us in a half an hour. Invaluable information and association. Just by seeing somebody who's doing it and taking in their countenance, we become empowered. Thank you very much, Navina Prabhu, for being with us. Sri Krishna Purushottam Prabhu is a highly convicted devotee. He became a devotee based on receiving books and reading them and realizing how important they were in his life. He wanted to make them available in everyone else's life. He came here to ISKCON Silicon Valley, much to our great fortune, several years ago. And more than several years ago, it's been like 15 years? 12 years. And in the first month he was here, he said, with tears in his eyes, he said, I have to move back to India. And he had a few tears in his eyes, and we were weeping constantly. And until a month later, he came back with a big smile and said, somehow or other, I got sent back here. And he's been here 12 years, for the last 12 years, since that time. And we've seen why he came back here, because our mission here at ISKCON Silicon Valley is to be a proving ground, to develop means to distribute books and then export them all over the world. So Sri Krishna Purushottam Prabhu has been instrumental in doing that here at ISKCON Silicon Valley, and therefore instrumental in spreading Krishna consciousness through book distribution all over the world. He's a great stalwart, and this morning he's going to talk about how to distribute sets of Srimad Bhagavatam, a topic that he is, among a few other devotees here at ISV, a pioneer in. He's developed means through which the devotees here have sold unprecedented numbers of sets of Srimad Bhagavatams. So I could go on and on about Sri Krishna Purushottam because I have so much affection for him, but I'll let him speak for himself. Please welcome Sri Krishna Purushottam.
ओम अज्ञानानन्दतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. Srila Prabhupada ki. So, actually, Vaisheshika Prabhu, what he spoke is, we all learned from him. He is book distribution Acharya. Starting from Ishopanishad to Chaitanya Charitamrita, he personally taught us, everybody in this room, I would say, not the new people, but he gave us each and every one by one training to do either Ishopanishad or starting with Srimad Bhagavatam. First time when we are doing Chaitanya Charitamrita, we called Vaisheshika Prabhu from the car. Prabhu, we never done Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is the first time in Foster City. Shraddha Mataji is with me. He said, it's the same thing. You have to present Bhagavatam as like Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's just present it, go with out force. And with the first energy, we knocked the first door. And I remember till now, Vaisheshika Prabhu said, just do it. And then the first person we knocked, he took a Chaitanya Charitamrita set. So it's all because of you, Prabhu. We are here, and thank you very much, Hare Krishna. So I'll just, everybody in this room know how to distribute a Srimad Bhagavatam set, but I will just go through the simple tips, and it's an interactive session. And Malini Mataji is also co-Sankirtan leader. She's expert. You can ask questions at the end. Please, last 15 minutes or 10 minutes we'll have questions. So Srimad Bhagavatam is, when we started this Bhagavatam program in ISV, that we don't know how to do the sets, you know. So this is the first time we got a lot of sets. We used to do small books, but when we asked Vaisheshika Prabhu, he said, sell bunches like bananas. Yesterday he said, distribute, package it nicely. We used to package small books and put in front of the houses, knock the doors like that. But once we got Srimad Bhagavatam sets, you know, our book distribution energy, devotees going out together, it's becoming widely. People are like seeing at ISV how we are distributing Srimad Bhagavatam sets. Get enough language sets. We have Telugu, we have Kannada, we have Gujarati, Bengali, and also getting Marathi Srimad Bhagavatam sets. We get all books in different languages. So we also have a, sorry, can you get one? We have the all languages, and also we have display copies. So what is mean by display copy? Like, you know, we have this, thank you. We have this 18 books set, 18 books in one set. So if we go into a door, it's overwhelming to see entire set. People will, oh, this many books, we cannot take it. So what we do is we carry one of the display book. Make sure that you don't, take this book and put it somewhere. It should be part of that set. We have this problem earlier, but this Bhagavatam is we carry in if you have 3-4 devotees with you, we carry and show these books as individual copies. And the display book should not be sealed like this. It should be opened so that it's comfortable in front of them. If you just do all, they will be distracted. So we just open it and then show. I'll come to that point later. So use is a beautiful tools. We carry all kinds of tools, and also when you carry, we need to, like, you know, high-tech stuff. I have this Bluetooth card reader. So carry all useful tools. Vaisheshika Prabhu especially emphasize to carry or buy whatever required for Sankirtan. So you must organize. So maintain a database locations. We have expert devotees at ISV. Shamalangi Mataji, Shivakumar Prabhu, Shukeshwari Mataji. They maintain a wonderful spreadsheet which is having all kinds of locations, which school districts it belongs to, where, you name it, they have the right insights. Plan ahead of time. We have every Thursday a call. And in that call we discuss which spot going, and we have a WhatsApp group, and it's encouraging entire community coming together and discussing about where we are going out. And you can have a personal relationship with realtors. You can talk to them, get a good spot. And in a Sunday feast, somebody new people comes. Can we come to your place and make them special, so that they will be, invite you to their place. And balance and complement is very, very important. When you go on Sankirtan, it's good to have few Matajis and Prabhujis together, because when we knock the door, they should be comfortable, So if they see me in a dhoti kurta, and one time one lady called me, "Can you check my palm?" I said, I can check, but you please take Bhagavatam. So finally she agreed to take Srimad Bhagavatam. But anyway, so people have different, when we go there, knock the doors, they have different mindsets. There are so many things going on. There's only get one Saturday, Sunday. Some people are living in mountain house. Many, many things going on their life. We should be very comfortable with them when we knock the door. So that's why balance and complement is very, very important. So, and also, when somebody is speaking, please be quiet and give them a chance. And even though we know what he's speaking, but we should be silent, So we should jump and also we need to ask them to speak. The recipient, when we knock the door, please ask them, where are you from? The hooks part we'll discuss in the next session. But just listen to them. Vaisheshika Prabhu said in one of the seminar, be a good listener. Even though they say about Himalayas, they will discuss many, many topics because they want some people to talk. They'll ask you to come inside. And last weekend when we knock a door, he's doing taxes. And he said, "Oh, this is the last day, but you came." So you'll take half an hour time. Like that, he was talking all the questions. But his wife is very, very interested. And he asked, "Okay, please come on in." And then his wife started. So like that, you have to make them open up. Once they open up, then it's very easily you can connect them. So the more you show, the more you sell. Yesterday, Vaisheshika Prabhu touched a little bit about on this. The mood, connection, presentation, and donation. So this is only 4 topics we'll discuss. Mood is a constant meditation. Srimad Bhagavatam is Srila Prabhupada brought Bhagavatam to Western world, and he compiled Srimad Bhagavatam first canto in India. So how much he emphasized to read Srimad Bhagavatam to Western audience or anybody in this world. So we need to make that constant meditation on each and every devotee and glorify and his devotees. Some people ask, "Oh, Bhagavatam is the same or Bhagavad Gita is the same?" Because they don't know the difference. But we should not laugh at them, We should very peacefully explain, "Oh, you have a Bhagavad Gita, it's not a Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is about Krishna and Krishna devotees." And and you need to present it in a humble way, Even though every door we meet is a different kind of human being. We should remember that, they are in different mode. So we need to respect whatever their mode in, and we should not disrespect, So I will tell all the time, even though I am wearing dhoti kurta, I am, I don't know, I'm also learning. I am finished Bhagavatam, but I'm reading again and again. So you need to make them very comfortable. So and glorify Krishna and Krishna devotees, that is about Bhagavatam. And we are just putting the seeds. One time I remember we went to Foster City. First time he took Ishopanishad small books. So next year we went, and he is still in the same apartment. And he took at that time Srimad Bhagavatam. Third time we went, and he was walking on the same apartment outside. And I asked him, "Oh, what you got this time for me?" So we gave him Chaitanya Charitamrita. Fourth time he took Gaur Nitai deities. So this is Mahaprabhu is waiting, as we are just Nimitta Matas. We are just instruments. We are just going, presenting, which we are not doing it, is Krishna is doing us. And Srila Prabhupada is empowering to do this mission. And the connection. This is a very, very important part of your presentation. Please introduce yourself. Always Malli Mataji say, we are software engineers. I work in eBay, she works in Genentech. Then I'll say, we are going like a Vishnu Sahasranam, telling each and every name. But you just tell, introduce, make them comfortable. So this, the connection part is very important. And as Vaisheshika Prabhu mentioned yesterday, Go Matsya, this is from last 1 year, we are having a lot of increase in the book distribution, also in the Lakshmi part. People are contributing to this, and when you ask them to be a part of some project, first they say, oh, it's a project, I have to commit my time. No. The best part of being a Go Matsya project, that you are taking these books, preservation, preservation of knowledge. We say that this entire Vedic knowledge is dying, so please be part of our Go Matsya project, and we explain about what is Matsya and a little bit the incarnation. But if they are not interested, don't go into. You just tell, this is straight away, this is a Vedic knowledge. We are Srimad Bhagavatam is the ripened fruit. If you see some Vaishnavas, or if you see some already they are like shlokas, you can quote some shlokas also at that time. Idam Bhagavatam Namam Puranam Brahma Samhitam Uttama Shloka Charitam Chakara Bhagavan Rishihi Nishreyasya Lokasya Danyam Svasti Ainam Mahat. So it comes from Srimad Bhagavatam. So you can quote like a few shlokas if they are interested. And we need to know their mood. So, and use a question to hook. So you can ask, Prabhu, which part of India you are from? Hyderabad. So you can say Lord Narsinghadev is there near Hyderabad. It's called Yadagiri Gutta. You just know a little geography of India. And where are you from, Prabhu? UP, Uttar Pradesh. You say Vrindavan is in UP. So you make them, you use some words, Govardhan, like, little bit, right? You are Krishna devotee. So like that, and anywhere. Mataji, you belongs to which part of India? So which part? Salem, okay. We have Ramanujacharya and also Shankaracharya from Kerala. So we can explain, from the saints, local saints, you connect them, and their mood is very important. This is a question. And also talk to their language, local language. Fortunately, we have a lot of Telugu here when we go together, Malli Mataji, myself. So lot of people we meet, it's Krishna's arrangement. We meet those kinds of people and we give those books. I remember I was in Toronto with Malli Mataji. We are going in a Sankirtan and I was in a different team. When we knock one door, and he is a Tamilian and is a priest, and also he works in a software engineer. And we didn't do anything. We just went 4 or 5 devotees. He's already have a big altar, huge altar, so I never seen such a big altar in a house. And then we sat in front of that and we glorified, he belonged to Paramacharya, one of the saint in South India. We glorified, and after that he said, you are preaching the Sanatan Dharma, I will also take. And his son came. So what he did, he took a Tamil set, and later, and his son came and we are talking to son. He can read in English, Bhagavatam also. He said, do you have English also? Yeah, definitely. So we gave all the things, 2 sets, and he gave 780 Canadian dollars for us. So it works. You have to be present. You have to be part of, just be there. Just be there with the devotees. And when you knock a door, you can be instrument of Srila Prabhupada. And as I said, glorify the saints. And many saints are there. This is Tukaram Maharaj and Sripad Ramanujacharya. Like that, you can glorify the saints which they belongs to. So if you don't know them, I can talk to them. I can talk to me offline. I can tell about some little saints so that you can have to, like for example, you belongs to Tirumala, you can talk about Annamacharya. Like that, So if you belongs to Bengal, you can talk about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Like that. So connect with the holy places. It's very important to connect with any holy place they may belongs to. Just by listening the place name, they will connect with you. So connect with the holy place, connect with the company, connect with the, whatever they like. So you just need to be connect and test the ripe fruits. We are not Just Navin Nirad Prabhu said, there are many, many houses, not only one house. Don't stick to one house. You draw a line, okay, and also don't judge at the same time. When you judge them, they won't take the books. Just, oh, this person is not interested. Don't put into any expectations in your heart. Just go as a natural flow. Bar down your expectations. Make sure that you are there will be a pressure, right? They will be taking, they are not taking. Don't just put expectations. Just go there. Last weekend when we went, when we glorifying him, and he gave only $108. And we didn't say anything. We just, okay, thank you very much, and please read these books. And after 9 p.m. he called me, said, are you around this area? Yes, I am still here distributing. Then I said, come over. Sorry, I misheard that it's a $250 donation. I gave only $108, and then he gave me $200 more. So it's all, we got $316 for one Bhagavatam. Just to, we should not judge people. That's what I'm trying to say. Please be instruments of Mahaprabhu. Please that we should be very, very humble. Vaisheshika Prabhu asked, when sometimes people just shut the door off, just close the door. But we need to be very humble. Even though they shut the door, next door he will invite you and take the Bhagavatam like that. And please be always humble. The presentation part is very important, and everybody in the team, just when they're presenting, you can show the pictures, and I would always say, and also make them comfortable when you present it. And by conversation, you can find out he is more into science. Then you can ask others to speak, because I am also not a science person. So Shiva Kumar Prabhu or somebody will speak, and there will be many devotees with you, right? So make them everybody special in the team, so that they can speak. And also I say Bhagavatam is, if Krishna takes a lion form, is which avatar? Narasimha avatar. If you take a fish, Matsya avatar. If you take a form of a book, is called Grantha avatar. Is Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam. So you can present this to this books like that, and then they will feel very comfortable. Oh, I am taking Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam. And Bhagavatam is in a maturity state. Vyasadeva wrote these books in a maturity state. And glorify according to your own realizations. Don't go by script. Be natural. You can present it like you just. I'm sure everybody read Srimad Bhagavatam here, but just remember what you read and glorify according to their interest. So, yeah, I don't go to advent of Bhagavatam, because everybody know we just give little more points. So, as Srimad Bhagavatam is, also people are not comfortable if you belong to certain religion or certain cults. We say, even though ISKCON is there, but Bhagavatam is there before ISKCON. Bhagavatam is there from way 5,000 years before, but Srila Prabhupada translated Bhagavatam 18,000 slokas into English. There is no other saint translated this knowledge into English. And then if you say that, they'll say this is authenticity. And Krishna is compiled by Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa. And also you can show his name on the book in front of them. Only Prabhupada translated into English. And you can also tell there are 4,500 verses talks about Lord Krishna. So out of 18,000, there are 4,500 verses. You can see Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa. And also you can explain what is Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa. Krishna is Lord Krishna himself. Dvaipayana means island. And where Vyasa means who split the Vedas into multiple parts. So that's why his name is Vyasa. And you can just tell few things. They will be very happy to know the meaning. And also you say Narada. What is the meaning of Narada? Narada means who gives Narayan. Dha means giving. Nara means Narayan. So like that you explain few of the meanings to them. They will be very interested to know more about it. How come you know all these things? And no, we don't know anything. We just read from Srimad Bhagavatam. So like that. So and and we set the scene. we set the scene, like, and also please don't alone speak. Please others also make sure that, you give. And some people need to also talk some other things, You have some picture in their house. And I remember one time, one lady, I was walking on the street, I like your necklace, I told. And she gave it to me. You take it. So, in Half Moon Bay, I said, I didn't ask for your necklace, I came for to give a book. But, people are very, they want to give something, so make sure that you give Bhagavatam to them. So you set a scene to them, and once you set the scene of how Srimad Bhagavatam came, how Vyasadeva is also Vayasaki, He was, Vyasadev's son is Vayasaki, his name is, you tell, there is a temple here in South India, in Chennai. Shivakumar Prabhu always does, there is a Sukha Brahmarshi's temple is there. Like that, you just connect with them, with the Vyas. Because many people, they don't know Srimad Bhagavatam, unfortunately. So that's why even we are touching 20 houses per week, each group. We have many houses in Bay Area to go. So, and simplifying complex philosophy, and keep philosophy short. If they are interested, please go on to explain. So make it less than 45 minutes, so that they can do grocery shopping later. So, and also the authenticity of Srimad Bhagavatam, it's very authentic, and we always quote this, how Bhagavatam is like when woman is pregnant. In the Bhagavatam, it explains that don't eat pungent items, it will affect the baby. And we can say that energy coming from what you read at the time of pregnancy will go to the baby. Like that, if you explain the authenticity of Bhagavatam, everything is there. I also always quote this. In 7th canto, 4 chapters is there, how to live a good family life. You can read about it. It's like Narada Muni explained to Yudhishthir Maharaj. So all this authenticity, they will know by just reading Srimad Bhagavatam. And captivating stories. I think all kids knows this Gajendra Moksham story and Ajamyal story, like that. And kids love it. This is the favorite part. Every house, those who have kids, they'll say, okay, I always say, we went in your neighborhood. There are 25 people took Srimad Bhagavatam. Of course they took it, but we just tell little more so that people can be more comfortable taking that books. And your neighbor also took it. Oh, they say, oh, we'll do combined study. No. This Bhagavatam should be there in your house. This, according to Vastu, your house will be purified by just having Bhagavatam. So, and the kids love it. And we also choose a good school district when we take it. It also lays good foundation. And we interviewed one of the teacher in the school district in Cupertino. She said how these kids are speaking good words, like a transcendental, and all very great words. And you need a dictionary to translate those. Then we told this Bhagavatam, which we are distributed 482 sets in Cupertino. So these are laying in their houses, people are reading it and kids reading it, and make them to kid to read. When you knock a door, we always give the book to the kid. Can you read? He said, how comfortable he is reading. Please take it, like that. So then they will all feel, they will ask the children, oh, are you okay to read all 18 books? Yes, yeah, of course, we will read. so like that, and cope up with peer pressure. Of course, even though there are a lot of Indian communities here, but they have a lot of peer pressure. Shivasa, you have a peer pressure? No. No, at the school, you have a peer pressure. Can you give a microphone? Oh, Hare Krishna.
Peer pressure as in like...
So, for example, you are preparing for exams or something in the school, you have a bad energy, right? Like, people asking come for a party, that you have a peer pressure. Do you have?
Peer pressure in the sense that people just expect you to be different. Okay. Because, yeah, that's it.
So, you say this is a good peer pressure, which is Bhagavatam explains you to mold them, give him the good culture from the beginning, you know. So you no need to, people if say children read these books, they don't read it. So you can explain them, put it in their rooms, these books, they can read by themselves. And that itself, it's a preaching, and it will lay a good, strong foundation for them, like that. So answer difficult questions, Bhagavatam will give, and enrich vocabulary, I already mentioned. So we show a living examples, you know, Ravi Gupta, who is also Radhika Raman Prabhu. He is a living saint who is went to the Oxford at the age of 21 to complete his PhD. So we show them. One time I was speaking about him. The lady, wait a minute, he went to inside and got his iPad and really searched Ravi Gupta, which I am telling the truth or not. And she read it, and she trusted me, you know, and she didn't ask any questions. Give me a set. So that means when we present it, of course we present the truth, but like, you know, people will be checking, you know, so so, and engage the whole family. You can say, you can do a bedtime reading. All the kids will be reading as a bedtime reading. This is a real part. When you are presenting Srimad Bhagavatam, at the middle of your conversation, somebody in your group need to say, this costs $250, you know, so that they will have some expectations. And by listening all the presentation, they may say, oh no, it's too much money, and we have a budget, we have a family budget. I mean, they'll come up with many questions, but we'll cover that in the next sessions. But donation, ask for donation. And say, we'll accept Master, Visa, American Express, all credit cards, and we accept checks. And you know, last time when I showed this person, you are a high-tech monk, he said to me. when we carry this kind of tools, they know we are in Silicon Valley, and everybody knows we are high-tech monks. And it comes as a set. They say, okay, I'll just take the one book. Recently, we found out that's a common thing. Just I'll read one book and I'll read rest. But usually this is, we say Krishna's, Bhagavatam is Krishna's, you know, the complete body, right? The first canto is the feet of Krishna, 10th canto is the face of Krishna, and we'll explain about this. And they'll still say, oh, don't compel me, don't put a pressure to me to read. Then we'll say, okay, we will, I mean, we do at the last end, we'll keep one book for you and we'll keep the rest of the set with us, and you just start reading it. But we generally don't encourage this one, but people will definitely take it. You know, I was talking to one Bengali family. He said, I'll take one book, and we're still going on with the presentation. At the end said, okay, then I'll take all 18 books, don't worry. You just keep it there. So like that, you know, you just need to make them, how Bhagavatam will change their life. How Bhagavatam is very important. It's like a ripe fruit, you know. You see mango, if you eat anywhere, it's sweet. Bhagavatam is like that. It's anywhere, it's sweet. And make a spiritual investment. Only today, I always say, we have Akshay Triti went 2 days before, and Ekadashi is coming. So after that, Narsingha Chaturdasi is coming, and you know, since we are Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we have unlimited festivals. Out of 365 days, 364 days are festivals. Only one day we leave. But I'm just saying, we can present it. It's only special today. Please take it, and they will definitely like this. And use credit cards. As I meant, we accept all the pay by installments. We can ask Shukeshwari Mataji yesterday said how she started collecting. I think Kameshwari Mataji also, they put on the, we have to do it on the spot because they'll forget. So we usually, oh, let's help you to set up a PayPal recurring deposit like that. So, and this is also very best part, and I'm running out of the time, but I'll just finish very quickly. Installing Srimad Bhagavatam at their houses. This house I went in Dublin, so they put Krishna in the laundry room. And but I said, you know, you getting Srimad Bhagavatam, find a good room for Krishna. You will definitely. Then he immediately accepted, and after installation, he feels so comfortable and very happy to give the money to me, or money to us, a check. Because he said that, you know, the Bhagavatam installation will purify entire ether in their house. They never done any kirtan. When all the devotees started kirtan, right, performing the worship to Srimad Bhagavatam, and also engage them. You know, you don't only you do, ask them also do, just wash their hands, and also ask them to bring the incense. Everybody are comfortable, one time I asked, can we do installation? She said, wait for 10 minutes. Why? I said, I have to take bath. And she went up and took bath, and we are chanting our rounds. After she coming, she took Srimad Bhagavatam, like that. And also referrals is very important. You ask their recipients, do you refer somebody? Yesterday Malini Mataji told about that. So installation is also very important. And follow-up. Follow-up, we take their contacts. We have a group called Sankirtan Contacts Group. And Shalva Prabhu, if your devotees will add that to our mailing list, and make this contact very fast. People are not comfortable, so give me your phone number, and just share the location. We are started taking addresses also, people's address, home address, so that we can send some gift to them later. So always leave a good impression, very, very important. Don't argue, even though they say anything, we just, as Vaisheshika Prabhu says, there is a switch here, just turn it off for a few minutes and then turn on later. So comebacks. Okay, I say, they say, and you say, you can read. Anybody can take one. No space. You want to read that? So it is spiritual Vastu. You have Srimad. I also tell this example. If Devaki is in the womb, Krishna is in the womb of Devaki, they worshipped the womb. All the Devatas in the night time, they came and worshipped. So like that, Bhagavatam is at our house, Devatas will worship your house. So, and they will, oh really? So definitely they will take it, and they have the good fortune. No time. So, and we also, this time we can show the app. Productive app. It's done by Namasparan Prabhu and team, and we show how many pages you read, 5 pages per day, 10 pages, like that. You can show that entire graph to them. No interest. Yes, I don't need to explain that one. No money. So it means you are getting a spiritual investment for lifetime, and this you can pay by installments also. So not now. So many people say, oh, once I become old I'll read, or once I retired I'll read. All kinds of answers. I turn on the lights, so I don't give money to you. Okay, give me tomorrow. So don't worry. Or else you go to a hospital, you say, I got please give some medicine, you see lights are on or off, right? So we just need to make them little urgent and important. So not here at the temple. Everybody say temple has, okay, sorry. Temple has come to you. And say, how come? I said, yeah, we are all devotees, we go. And also I say, if you come to temple, I won't be there, So nobody, if you come to temple, we'll be out. All of us will go out on Sankirtan. Only Madan Mohan and Ramanand Prabhu will give Srimad. He'll give the Bhagavatam set if you come to temple. And like that we say, just to make them happy. So Krishna sees sincere efforts. Of course, at the end of the day, Krishna is Bhavagrahi Janardana. And he's he sees your sincere efforts. Even there will be a bad and good days. One time I asked Vaisheshika Prabhu, Prabhuji, we had a great day. He said, Sankirtan Krishna is seeing your sincere efforts. Yesterday in the class he said, the check mark will be there if you distribute Srimad Bhagavatam. Please try, So I'm sure definitely people, they can take in the buses. We put in stop signs, distributed Bhagavatams. There you can read the history. It works, So please, he will see the sincere efforts. At a glance, we can give this card later, right, Mataji? So now it's question and answers part. So I would request Malini Mataji also join. We can ask questions and answer. So. Yes, Prabhu.
Could you please tell about when they say no time? You said we need to mention a urgency.
Right.
No, I'm not pretty clear.
So usually I say that just read one page. Everybody do like a puja at their house, and you say just read one page. Just read one shloka, and we also said read translations. Read translations for next 1 week or 2 weeks, like that. So then they will be very comfortable.
Do you have a way to replicate how you set up that database for knowing all the locations that you've gone or all the locations you want to go and the Excel document and everything?
So every school is different, every city is different, right? So what you can do is you work with the local people in your congregation and find out what is the best schools in the area. And also, is that I'm answering the right question? Software. Oh, you want a software?
She wants the program.
Oh.
So you have to get her the program before she leaves.
Okay. Okay, we don't have any software like that, but we can help you how we did it. So we have a spreadsheet, Google Sheet, where with all the locations like that. So do you have any recommendations for us? Use Yelp or something to find out the location, or?
I don't know. I'm doing research right now on like the whole DC community, and it's so big that I'm trying to figure out how to split up the city, and that I do need to get the whole community involved. It's just like getting everyone together to talk to like all of the information that we know to come together to figure out who lives where and how to break up the parts. Yeah.
So we have a software. We just started a Sankirtan app where we actually are collecting all the information that we get from the devotees in different spots, and we put them in the database. And eventually that will put us marks on what are all the areas that you covered. That is one aspect of it. But if you're looking for which locations to pick, which would be good, then that actually we go by school districts. And the best way usually to find out a good location is ask for referral. Like devotee community lives in that area, so you can ask if this area, how is it? And also devotees can also ask their colleagues, their friends. Our devotee Shivakumar Prabhu, he asks everybody around, like, can you tell me where do you live? And he just makes a note of that location. And then we pick the locations like that, but we will give you that application which records all the locations in the database before you leave.
And you have the same for follow-up as well?
Yes,
kind of
the follow-up app is in progress. It should be coming out soon, but it would be part of the same app, just another add-on to that as a follow-up.
Okay. Can I ask another question? A last question?
Sure.
For the Gomatya and distributing Bhagavatams, for people that don't come to the temple and like maybe they're reading it on their own and things like that, I know follow-up would help, but how do you help with them understanding, like from my reading the Bhagavatam, some of the parts I'm like, oh, like that doesn't really sit well with me, or like, okay, so I just read Canto 3 and I think it was chapter 24 verse 5, and it just says women are less intelligent. So being able to like give someone a Bhagavatam, but then be able to like follow up with them and explain to them so that they don't, I don't know, like, you know, like.
We'll request Vaisheshka Prabhu can help.
Well, it's important to have ongoing personal classes. Like Shraddha Devi Dasi has a regular class online on the phone. She has about 15 people that get on every week. And the only way to help people understand all the details and the juxtaposition of the different eras of culture and how they all come together is by having personal guidance. And so you have to have regular classes that people can join into, and you can do that online. It's best if there's 1 or 2 people who are competent, who can walk people through the various things. And when when people develop trust in a particular person as a Shiksha Guru, then they're able to accommodate all the different points because they have trust in that person. They say, well, if it's okay with this person, it's okay with me. And so it's a very personal philosophy. Although we distribute the books and we want them to read them and become enlightened by that, it also requires personal guidance. So you can set that up. It's not that difficult with technology to have regular classes, and those kinds of people can join the group and get the regular guidance. That's the best way.
Just to add, Valimardan Prabhu recently started a group called Pearls of Srimad Bhagavatam. So people will, half an hour, just an interactive session. They can join in a conference call as Vaisheshika Prabhu suggested, and they can ask questions. And you can also personally train them if they have that questions. And Vaisheshika Prabhu also told that in Toronto they have a reading club. People will come, right Prabhu? Is that a reading club?
Yes. They have a regular session where they read the Bhagavatam out loud and people can come and sit and listen, and it's also broadcast live. And that really helps people to take in the vibration, and if they have questions, they can be answered in that forum. They're doing it in Denver now too. I think Shamya Pras Prabhu is regularly reading out loud and online. Keshav Bharti Maharaj is also doing, he has just started live streaming his classes. He has a vow that he will read Prabhupada's books, at least 41 pages a day, out loud, every day for the rest of his life, without fail. And then he recently started live streaming it also. So now his vow, he told me yesterday, is to read 41 pages of Prabhupada's books out loud and live streamed at the same time, till the end of his life. He won't. And so it's important to have devotees constantly reading the books, and then when you have those forums, you can invite people into them. And it lifts the whole community, and then it invites people into that environment. And within that environment, then they can meet devotees and ask these personal questions and get them answered. There's a lot of context, too. Recently, when I was at the GBC meetings in Mayapur, a group called the Shastric Advisory Committee joined us for a couple hours, and they talked about ways in which to deal with all these various points that come up, very sticky points, because the context is very much necessary, and the study of hermeneutics. How do you interpret various things that you read within the Srimad Bhagavatam? And those who are teaching the Bhagavatam need to have an awareness of how to present those particular points so that people can understand them and assimilate them. Just as much as SKP has a chart that says, if they say this, you say that. That's for the selling part. And then for the part where they're consuming it themselves, you also have to have ways in which you deal with people's particular cultural differences or conundrums in reading the philosophy, and that can be done. And that's called the lifetime study of the Bhagavatam and teaching Bhagavatam too. You learn all those things and it becomes part of your repertoire. So you can do that, and you can also empower other people in your team to do that as well. And it's a holistic approach to teaching Bhagavatam. Not that we just drop off the Bhagavatam at their house and leave them, but we also have to know what's in it ourselves and understand the context and be able to bring people into it. You can do. Hare Krishna. Come on, if you're going to clap a little louder. That's Bhakti and Stephanie, by the way, is heading up the program in Washington, D.C., taking a lead role in organizing the book distribution there, which is a huge thing. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I have one question. You've been, thank you for sharing your experiences and guidance for us. One question what I have that, do you come across with any like non-Indian person or family, like how do you deal with them?
Devotees also distributed to Shraddha Mataji, distributed to one person. But when we knock the door, we see is non-Indian. We just change the flip side. We say that we are coming from yoga center. They're giving books about yoga and meditation, and we also find out their interest. If they are interested in Mahabharata, they say some words, right? Oh, I read Bhagavad. So we'll just show Bhagavatam, but we don't spend much time. We give the Bhagavad Gita and make it short, and give a POI, some books to them, and then ask them to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So that's
Did anybody take Bhagavatam set?
Yeah, you can say. Yes, they took it, Mata.
They took it, okay. Yeah. That's we found the most challenging part. Yes. We had some.
Yeah, I mean, actually, when SKP Prabhu was showing the presentation, there was a lady, there was a Chinese lady with Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is even more difficult to sell. So they themselves, so they had distributed that going door to door, and there have been instances where even Muslims will take the book from you. It's just that you have to present it in the right manner. Use terms again more like Krishna, more like spiritualism, God, and things like that, rather than taking names. And sometimes you just pamper their ego and tell them that you really like the fact that they are so open-minded, and that works and that helps.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I just add that people assimilate the philosophy and the books in their own time scale. So oftentimes when a Westerner who doesn't have the same awareness of saints, of scripture, we may be able to convince them to take a Bhagavad Gita, and then from there they start coming and associating with devotees, and then from there they take the Srimad Bhagavatam set. So we're finding that Westerners, when they come and they get accommodated and they're aware of the context of Krishna consciousness, they start studying it, and then they take the Srimad Bhagavatam set. So it's not that we don't distribute sets to Westerners, it's just not as much door to door. We're finding that's a little too abrupt for them. But once they take a couple more steps and they come to the temple and they start, or whatever Sangha, even if it's not the temple, they're coming to other areas where they can associate and feel at home, then they become acquainted with Bhagavatam, and then they take it into their house. But one of the ways in which we talk about the Bhagavatam and being part of ISKCON in general, when people want to know what's the next step, and oftentimes people, they start to develop faith in the tradition and in ISKCON in particular, and Prabhupada and his followers, they'll say, what can I do next? We often tell them, chant rounds, and we also say, keep these books in your house. You can keep the full set of books. It's a part of being a follower of Prabhupada, is to keep his books. And that's something that is readily taken up by everybody who comes forward that many steps and appreciates ISKCON and Prabhupada.
I just wanted to second what Prabhu was saying, that recently when we were on Chaitanya Charitamrita, we had Gaur Purnima MSF. I was with Malini Mataji, and we were just on door to door, and there was one little boy who opened the door. His name was David, and so as soon as we met him, we were not too sure. Mataji so nicely, she opened the book and she said, "This is a biography of a saint," and she talked about Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and then he said, "Oh, I have something like that with me already." And then then we said, "Do you want to call your parents?" So his dad came in, and he said, "Hold on. I have a book like that." So he went inside and he got a chant and be happy. He said, "I got this at school." And then Malini said that, "Oh, do you know George Harrison?" And then both the dad and son were so happy that we talked about George Harrison. He said, "Yes, we know him. We love his songs." And, it started like that. And George Harrison followed a master. And this book is the biography of that master. And he was like, "Wow, really?" And then they started listening about Chaitanya Charitamrita, and then he said he worked at Apple, and he said, I have a lot of other Indian friends, but I didn't know. I knew that George Harrison was following a spiritual path from India, and then he said, would you like to have a set? And she said, yeah, how much does it cost? So we said, it's 100. I think he gave about 80 or something, and he said, is that okay? She said, yeah, absolutely. So he did take the set, and consequently, next house was also an American, and well, I just personally felt that it was so easy for them to accept Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is $100, you know, when it compares to $250 for Srimad Bhagavatam. And I'm sure there are many devotees who did Bhagavatam as well. But I just felt that the conviction, and Mahaprabhu was already there in their house as chant and be happy. And the other person he said, I'm very open to any of these, but I can't afford so much. So I think in that sense, if they are really open, I think we didn't push as much for, you know, getting the whole Lakshmi. Whatever they could give, $50, $60, $400. I just wanted to add that. And I think it's just, I felt that because Malini was there, it happened. Thank you.
Prabhu, here.
Prabhuji, like, so when we go to door-to-door book distribution, we have some priorities. Let's say, for example, I start speaking about a Bhagavatam set, and if they're not interested, I'll go back to, do you go back to the Bhagavad Gita? And if they're still not interested, you go back to the SSR? Or like, how do you set the what order that you follow? If you could please.
No, you already told the answer. We just say, if they're interested, they're not interested in Srimad Bhagavatam, so we'll do Krishna book. Krishna book is part of 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, having 48 images, 90 stories. You can tell, okay, this is a Krishna book, you can start with this. And so we used to give one canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, but even though they are not interested in Krishna book, then we'll go for the POY, Perfection of Yoga, small books. So we just, as Vaisheshika Prabhu said, oh, we have other book for you. You know, just show to them, then they will definitely take it. But when you go with Bhagavatam, you should carry only Bhagavatam in the hands. If you have other books, so I'll go with the other small book. So you should, this is psychology, you know. So you present it Bhagavatam, if they are completely, the doors are closed, then you give the Krishna book. So I always put Krishna book in the bag. So it's easy, one book, and they know, right, you know. So like that. Thank you. Nothing.
So, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So Prabhuji, in our temple, right, there are a lot of Spanish devotees, but they do not have money to buy Srimad Bhagavatam when the cost is really high. Yeah. So in such cases, right, Mataji was also telling that they gave $80, but our temple do not let them set at a lower price. So how do we go with that?
So we have a Shastra Dan, like, you know, Vaisheshika Prabhu, every year, like quarterly we do, like, you know, in the temple, raise donations for the books, and we set that money separately for sponsorships, if anybody interested. Like, you know, Bhadra Purnima is coming. Yeah. You can ask congregation, even though you have Srimad Bhagavatam, there are many, like students are there, they don't have much money, but they are interested to read. And you found out their names, and you tell the people, this is what we are interested to do, and they will definitely support. So you can raise donations to give the books for them as a free, or they can give whatever they want. Like that. You understood?
Yeah, so we collectively get some sponsors and use that money to sponsor the Shastras.
Yes, yeah. Please.
Actually, in our community, there are so many devotees who just want to give. One door we went, a person was very, very interested, but he did not have money to pay for the books. So there is a devotee called Prasanjit Prabhu. He says, Mataji, if he wants to have books, just give him, Mataji, I'll pay for it. So there are so many devotees who may not be able to go out for the book distribution, but willing to contribute in this way. So you can engage your entire community in distributing Bhagavatam sets. Personally, they may not be there at the spot, but we could be using. And the other thing is also installments is another option, like Sukheshwari was mentioning yesterday, that they can pay over a year like $10, $20, whatever they can. We can set up installment payments for them too. So that's another option.
One last. So when you give the first canto, how do you, like, if they're interested only in the first book, like, how do you handle the remaining books in the set?
So we usually don't break the set. So first canto part 1 is a BBT book that you get. That it has first 7 chapters of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So those are the books that we give out. And your question is, like, if you give only one book, how will they come back for the rest of it? Few months ago, there was this lady who only took one book when she came to the temple. Somebody asked for Bhagavatam. She never took the entire set, but she took only one book. Next time when we went, and when we knocked the door, she said, I already have a Bhagavatam. And I was wondering how. And then the son came running out. And then he said, this is my book. And she said the son liked it so much. And then she said, I want to buy the rest of the Bhagavatam. So she took the entire set. So we have to have some patience with these kind of, these are like, not usually this happens, but there are some people who want to try, test, and then they'll come back to the temple.
Usually, sometimes they even though they bought Bhagavad Gita, they say they will say we got Bhagavatam. And I remember Kameshwari Mataji, can you show it to me? So they'll go and bring them. Oh, this is not Bhagavad Gita. We have a Bhagavatam, like that. So people they want to escape, so they'll say like that. So, the last question, because Prabhu's session is there, and we'll be available later to talk. So.
I just want to, I think Vaisheshika Prabhu said it kind of, but I want to clarify that I understood. So when anyone comes to the temple and if they're just on like reading Bhagavad Gita and they're on chapter 2, but they're wondering how to maybe serve deities in their home or something, and how you're saying like everyone should have sets in their home. So could they have sets in their home even if they're not reading them yet because they're just on Bhagavad Gita? So in a way you could preface it to them as like your deities could be the Bhagavatam even though you're not reading it, and then they would buy it in that way?
Very much so.
Okay.
The act of physically putting the books in one's home changes the environment, and it requires a kind of commitment. They have to be ready for it, or at least on the precipice of that, and then you can encourage them to do that, and it makes a big difference. In fact, you'll read in the Nectar of Devotion that those who keep and respect Vaishnava literatures in their homes are worshipping a deity in their home, and those homes are respected by the devas. Those homes become tirthas because they keep and respect Vaishnava literatures. So it's part of our culture to keep the physical form of the literature itself and to worship it. Mahaprabhu did it, and so did his followers. They kept them, and when people do that, you'll find that they feel more connected with Krishna.
I think
yeah, we are getting late, so we are going field trips after the program, so you can come with all of us. So everybody in this room are very capable to do Srimad Bhagavatam. So we have enough time to ask more questions. I would suggest new people can associate with other devotees and leaders here. They can understand, they can take to their temples back. So thank you very much. Thanks for this opportunity, Vaisheshika Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you, Sri Krishna Purushottam Prabhu, for the wonderful presentation. When you see him in action, you will be mesmerized. So if you get an opportunity, please try to go with Prabhu. The next part of the presentation would be how to sell a Bhagavad Gita on its own merit. And this is a practical session, one-on-one. So for this, maybe we can just take a quick 5-minute break so that you can just stretch and come back. It's just in exactly 5 minutes. And His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu will be teaching us. And he says that by this presentation, if you cannot sell a Bhagavad Gita, then your money back, guaranteed. So don't miss that. Just please come back in exactly 5 minutes, and then don't leave any gaps in between, and we can just sit up close. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Manisha, would you grab my seat, please?
system one? Is the system? Why it didn't work? I have no idea. I think maybe if we restart it, it will come back. Something should be there.
Is this the correct one?
Yeah.
Then something's wrong there.
If you could restart it, sometimes the laptop also be, like if the PowerPoint is already open, sometimes it has hard time.
Restart what?
Yeah, your laptop. Sometimes it close or close the PowerPoint.
That's not it.
Because it works now. I put it that way as well. Restarting the laptop sometimes helps, actually.
Okay. Chant something nice.
How long? Okay.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
If you see a gap in front of you, please move up. And if there's extra seats, take them out. It's bad feng shui. Wrong vastu. So sit up here, come close, don't leave gaps, get rid of the extra seats. Thank you. I have my respectful obeisances to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who invented the art of book distribution and who taught it to all of us, and who asked us to continue it. In his teachings to us about distributing books, he said a couple of things very specifically when we asked him about how to teach others to sell books. One of the things he said was teach the devotees to be sincere, because he then pointed to his heart. The master within the heart will show them how to do it. Therefore, although I'm showing you a template today, the main point is that you should be sincere and speak from your heart, and people will get the message. And also, Krishna will teach you how to do it if you just practice and you try in that vein. Nonetheless, if you have a template to work from, it gives you a little confidence to start with. Just like when you're learning to play the saxophone. You have to learn some basic scales and where the keys are and things like that. And after you get good at that, then you can start improvising. So today's template is straightforward. It's easy to follow. We also have a card that shows the various steps. And when you learn these steps, and we'll go through them today so that you know what they are and how to present. Then you can even take this card with you if you're new and you're presenting to people and you say, excuse me, I'm new, I'm a trainee. In fact, you put a little badge on that says trainee. And he says, don't mind, I'm just trying this today. I don't know how to do it. And you'll find that people become very open to that. They'll say, oh, no, you go ahead, I'll help you out. And at the end, when you ask for a donation, of course, so sure. People are so nice, they don't want to discourage you. So even if you're a veteran, you can use that technique. So how to sell a book on its own merit, especially today we'll be talking about the Bhagavad Gita. And there's sufficient merit in our books that if you simply describe them sincerely, anyone will buy. So here are the various steps. We'll read them together. Radar, qualify, trust the hand, give a nutshell presentation, show and tell, compliment, humor, engage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 simple steps. Ashtanga. So the first is radar. Now, when you get detected by a policeman who's using a radar gun, there's a basic technology through which there's a beam that hits your vehicle and then bounces back to the machine itself. And it tells how fast you're going. And in a similar way, we use radar in order to detect whether people are ripe fruits or unripe fruits. And this you can use the power of your hand. So if you hold up your right hand, you'll notice that there's a beam that, just like the radar gun, it will shoot out from the palm of your hand. You never knew you were such powerful mystics, did you? And when it hits somebody else, it will bounce off them. And if you watch them, you'll notice whether they're ripe fruit or unripe fruit. Okay? So now, point your radar at somebody, and not all at me, because I can't take it all at one time. And I'll give you the mantra to activate it, and then it'll shoot the beam. Are you ready? Hi. Now look at the person you just hit with your beam, and what are they doing? They're all smiling because you're in a room full of ripe fruits. If you shoot somebody else on the street, they might not even look at you. Does that mean they're ripe or unripe? And if they kind of smile a little bit, maybe they're in the middle somewhere. But you will get a reading, and it'll come back to you. So again, we're not trying to convince everybody, and that's not our job. We're only searching for the right fruits. Just as the policeman doesn't pull over everyone. He or she only pulls over those who are speeding. So we're selecting by this. And in any crowded place, you can get an anxiety because you think, well, how am I going to deal with this? Just deal with it individually. And I'll just start going like this to people. Hi, 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 hi. And you'll notice in some places that are very passionate, fewer people will respond. And places where Sattva Gun is prevailing a little more people will respond. But they will respond. That's what living entities do. That's what they do for a living. They respond. That's a response. Response means that there's a pulse that's coming out. So you send a pulse, you get a pulse back. So it's a conscious contact to start with. And be very much aware of that and in your selection process. So hand power and activate through the mantra. Hi, hi, hi. Okay, next thing is to qualify, because people don't know why you're there and why they're particularly getting an object thrust into their hands. And if they don't know, then the confused mind usually says no. So one way to qualify people is to tell them where you're from, which is polite, and then ask where they're from. So what I would say when I'm outside of California is, California, where are you from? And if I'm inside California, I'll say, Burlingame, where are you from? Wherever you're from, you can utilize that and then ask somebody where they're from. Now, when they answer, then you can appreciate where they're from. And because wherever somebody's from is a worshipable place, like H. Ross Perot many years ago when he was running for president, it was revealed that when he became a multi-billionaire, he went back to his original home and he spent $2 million to turn all the bricks around in his house because somebody had painted them. So, because it's a worshipable place, it's his house. So if you just simply appreciate where somebody's from, like, hi, California, where are you from? Illinois, I love Illinois. Illinois, that's the home of the Fighting Illini, right? And whatever you can say that's appreciative of their place, that's why you're giving them the book. That's the qualification. You're from Illinois? Fantastic. I'll show you one too. Say show. Say it louder. Show. Say it again. Show. Say it 2 more times. Show. Show. Yeah, what are we doing? We're showing. We're not giving, we're not selling, we are showing. And show is an innocuous term. It doesn't obligate you to anything. It's a simple thing. It's what we all do in life. We like to show things to people. So the reason we're showing it to, because you're from Illinois. You're from Illinois? Fantastic. Illinois, I'm going to show you one too. So next thing is to trust the hand. Now I want you to look at this iconic picture, which was taken about 15 years ago. But you'll notice that lady's hand and the look on her face. Do you see her countenance? Her face is not saying, oh, I'm really into this, but look at what the hand's saying. The hand's saying, I don't care, I'll take it anyway. So you'll notice that oftentimes when you encounter people, that you'll say, oh, good, I'll show you one too. And their mind's going, don't do it. But the hand goes, no, I'll do it. Because that's what hands do. They grab stuff. So if you just put the book out, if you notice that, it's a visceral reaction that if somebody hands you something, the hand will generally go for it because that's its dharma. It grabs stuff. So let it do its dharma, and the hand will get purified, and the person will get purified too. So trust the hand, and trust Krishna also, that if you hand it over, nothing bad's going to happen. Next thing is, when you're handing the book over, give them a reason to take it. Let their mind absorb something also. What's in it for them? So here's a mantra that works quite universally, although there are many, many mantras, and Navina and others gave us some very nice ones this morning. Here's one that you can try. Books on yoga and meditation that show you how to get free from stress. Everyone say. Books on yoga and meditation that show you how to get free from stress. 2 more times. Books on yoga and meditation that show you how to get free from stress. Books on yoga and meditation that show you how to get free from stress. 2 more times. Books on yoga and meditation that show you how to get free from stress. Books on yoga and meditation that show you how to get free from stress. Good, and it's helpful to have that right on the tip of your mind, because when you start dealing with live people, your mind will be in a different state than it is now, sitting peacefully in your own environment. And if you've practiced that and you have a mantra ready, when you're handing the book over, you can say, books on yoga and meditation that show you how to get free from stress. And you'll notice that he took the book. And now, as I'm handing the book over, the book's making an arc and it's on its way, right? Here comes the delivery, Federal Express. Books on yoga and meditation that show you how to get free from stress. Try it again. Books on yoga and meditation that show you how to get free from stress. Do you notice I'm saying it while I'm handing the book over? Because that helps them to understand there's something in it for me, and it helps to align the hand with the mind. Because even if the hand's into it, if the mind isn't into it, as soon as they get the book in their hand, then their mind can overrule and they'll go, take it back. So you're giving them an excuse why they should take a look at it while you're handing it over. To get free from stress. That's an offer. Now, one of the ways in which one communicates effectively in any circumstance, but especially here, is by asking questions, because questions are the answer. Make a question mark with your fingers. Now, what does that resemble? A hook. So a hook can drag the conversation in the way that you want it to go, and it also resembles a tennis racket. So it also puts the ball back in their court. So if they ask something or say something that is either leading things in the wrong direction or a question you can't answer, you can answer a question with a question. Use your tennis racket or hook, either to pull the conversation in the direction you want it to go or hit it back into their court. Don't try to answer things you don't know how to answer. And if you want a generic way to do that, if someone asks you something that you either don't know how to answer or you don't want to answer, you can just say, how do you mean that? So ask me a question. Any question? How do you mean that? Like, anything that anybody asks you in any circumstance, you can say, how do you mean that? And they go, then they'll have to redefine it. Well, how do you mean, how do I mean that? You just hit the ball back at them. It's like, how do you mean that? Like, I mean it like, what city are you from? Oh, okay. But with any kind of question, are you a Hindu? How do you mean that? And it's like, oh, I don't know. I don't know how I mean that. It's like, oh, okay, well, that's all right then. So books on yoga meditation that show you how to get free from stress. And as soon as the book touches their hand, then a question comes out. Because the questions are the answer. They're also hooks and they're also tennis rackets. So as soon as the book goes in their hand, you ask them a question to control the conversation. And that is, you've heard of stress before, right? Yes, you've heard of stress? Okay. Whether they say yes or no, it's inconsequential, because the next follow-up is, really, you don't look stressed, you look spiritual. So if most people say, yeah, I've heard of stress. Of course I've heard of stress. And then we say, really, you don't look stressed, you look spiritual. Or some people say, no, I'm not stressed at all. I say, I know, I can tell. You don't look stressed at all. You look spiritual. Now, there's a very powerful implication in this statement, you look spiritual. They are spiritual. They've forgotten. And I also deal with people in a materialistic way, because I'm looking at their body, I can't see their soul. But the Sri Upanishad says that you should systematically see people as spiritual, anupashyati. And that means when you say you look spiritual, what happens is they change their mindset and they start thinking of themselves as spiritual, which is quite natural because they are. So if you get up in the morning and walk out your door and someone comes up to you and goes, well, you look tired, how do you feel? You start going like, I don't know, I guess I am tired. Or if you wake up in the morning and someone looks at you and goes, you walk out your door and they go, you look terrible, how do you feel? Terrible. The rest of the day you're thinking, God, I feel terrible. And if somebody comes up to you and looks at you and goes, you look spiritual, how do you feel? You start to feel, and you'll notice it happens in an instant when you tell people this, you look spiritual. They'll start, they transform suddenly in front of your eyes, and they achieve self-realization within a half a second. Just by you telling them, you look spiritual. And they go, oh my God, I forgot Krishna, I came from the spiritual world. All these thoughts start going through their mind just by this one statement. So now you bring another question. It's like, what's your secret? Everyone say that. And if you don't learn anything else, if you don't remember anything else today, well, of course you can't forget because you have these cards. But if you remember this one question and you ask that to people when you're distributing books, that you'll notice that it's the most powerful of all the questions you can ask them. And the reason is because there's a dynamic when we're out distributing books, and that is that we're trying to intervene in their lives. It's just by context. We're walking up to them, they're going in their own direction, and we walk up and say, hey, come over here, I'm going to change your life. And people don't like to have their lives changed. And there's a subtlety there where they're thinking like, why are you trying to tell me anything? And you'll notice that's one of the main reasons that people beg off, and they say, you know, like, leave me alone, or I don't want to read this, or I don't need to read it, or I don't want to give any money. The reason is there's a stubbornness there. They're like, I'm okay, why are you telling me I'm not? Because basically we are saying you should read this because it'll make you better. So now when I'm asking them, what's your secret? We're changing the relationship suddenly within an instant. Now they're becoming my teacher. I'm looking up to them because, number one, they are spiritual, and we just recognize that, and they recognize it. And number two, I want to know what their secret is. How did they get that way? And that makes me their disciple, and they now become the guru. And this they very much appreciate. All living beings do. So what's your secret? Now they'll start thinking of their secret, and it takes them a second. So people in the mode of ignorance will say, I smoke a lot of marijuana. People in the mode of passion will say, I work out every day. People in the mode of goodness will say, I meditate and I read the Bhagavad Gita. And you'll notice a variety of answers. And then a portion of people, at least 30%, will say, I have no idea. And then you'll have to suggest something for them. Say, oh, you must come from a good family. And if they say, no, I don't, 10% of people say, no, I don't come from a good family. Other people will accept that. The other people, you can say, you must just be a natural. And they'll accept that. Okay, so let them be spiritual and let them have a secret. And if they don't have one, fill it in for them. Okay so far? Say yes. Yes. Okay, next is you take the book back. You just gave them the book, but in essence, basically, you're taking back their book just to show them their book. And now comes show and tell. So show and tell means, here, I'll show you really quick. How fast are we telling them? Say really quick 5 times. Really quick. That's how fast are we showing them? And the reason is they're thinking, is this a Bhagavatam class? Or do I have to be here forever? Am I going to be converted here on the spot? What's going to happen? And you're just saying, everything's really quick. This is going to happen so fast you won't even believe it. It's really quick, really quick, really quick. I'm just going to show you. So here's a few things that you show them that are in and on the book. On the back cover of your Bhagavad Gita, you'll find some names. What are they? On this book says Thoreau, Emerson, and Gandhi. Thoreau, Emerson, Gandhi. I add in a few more people who have read Bhagavad Gita that are well known. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Albert Einstein, the Beatles, and Tupac Shakur. We haven't updated this, but Tupac was a big fan of the Bhagavad Gita. He was a philosophical person, and he's well known in some cultures. So good to add in a little bit of everybody. And if you're dealing with another culture, then you can add in names that people are more familiar with. Just as SKP was explaining, you know, go with their culture. So all you have to do is just drop the names as if you're taking them and throwing them up in the air. You don't have to explain each one, just tell them. And you'll notice that their mind starts catching on those names. The next thing is to open the book and say, show them the Sanskrit writing, which is very beautiful in itself. And you'll say, can you read this? And what will they say? 99.999% of the time they'll say no. And then they say, oh, I was just testing you. And that leads to the next point. This has been translated into English over 400 times. And now you're turning to the front of the book. Instead of, out of all the translations, this is the most popular in universities. Now you find in the front of your book a list of universities, some of which at the bottom of the page are very well known. Like here we have University of Southern California. Have you all heard of USC? And also you'll find down here Georgetown University. You know the Hoyas, right? Okay, so we've got, all you have to do is, again, drop names. You're pulling them out of a hat. You know USC? Yeah. You've heard of Georgetown University? Yeah. Okay, that's all you have to do. Now the next thing is we're still showing, and we turn to the changing bodies. So get good at finding this, because you got to get there fast, because how fast are you showing them? Really quick, really quick, really quick. So here we have a picture, and when you're showing them, you hold it up like this so they can see it very well and say, listen, we start here, we end up here, we're all just passing through. And now you can ask them a question. Where are you in all this? Wait, where are you? Sir? Come up. Let the record show that Wade has identified himself as being on this part of the continuum. And people will look at that, and it gets their mind engaged. They get to participate a little bit and show where they're from. Okay, and the next page you can show and tell. This one shows the sage, and the sage is looking at the various entities in the world. And here's another mantra. A self-realized person treats everyone with respect. Repeat. Because he or she sees God or the Spirit within everyone's heart. So when you show them that and you tell that a spiritual person respects everybody, they like that point very much. And the next comes another question, because you don't want to go too long without asking a question, because a question holds everything together. So the next thing you ask is, you've heard of karma, right? Yes. Have you heard of karma? What does it mean to you? That's another question. So I asked one question, she answered. I'm asking another. What does it mean to you? Oh, give her the microphone. This is important. We want to hear this answer.
What comes around goes around.
Now here's my answer. Whoa, what a great explanation. Okay, so I want you to practice that. Whenever you're going to ask me if I've heard of karma, and then ask me what it means to me, and then when I give my answer, and it doesn't matter what I say, I want you to go like this. Whoa, what a great explanation. Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, give him the microphone, he'll ask me.
Have you heard of karma?
Yes.
What does it mean to you?
Well, there's rabbits and butterflies and energies, and things go up and down, and it's freaky, man.
Whoa.
Come on.
What a great explanation.
Come on now. No, you don't have it yet. You don't have it yet. Okay, I'm going to ask you. You say the same answer. I say, you've heard of karma, right?
Yeah.
Use the mic. What does it mean to you?
What goes around comes around.
Whoa. I really like the way you put things. If more people in the world thought like you, it'd be a better world to live in. So you really got to lean into it, okay? Ask me again about karma.
You've heard of karma, right?
Yeah.
What does it mean to you?
Well, it's just mystical. It's weird. It's hard to explain. It's like stuff happens. You know what I mean?
Whoa. What a great explanation.
Exactly. So this is a time in your presentation to add a little energy to it and to appreciate them. After all, they're your guru. They're teaching you. You ask them what their secret is for being spiritual, and now you're asking them questions. And when they give you answers, you really appreciate them heavily. Okay? You can't overemphasize when you do this. Go into your bozo zone. That means you go more than you thought was necessary. Okay? Whoa! What a great explanation. Okay, that'll get them ready for the next part. And we say this is a mantra you can use at any time in your presentation. It goes well in this part, but what's your secret? And this mantra, this will get you through practically any presentation. So please repeat after me. If more people in the world thought like you, the world would be a better place to live. So when people bring up things, you can use this mantra. Okay, so the next one is, I show them karma. I said, look, generosity breeds generosity, violence breeds violence. And I show them this cow with a man's head and man with a cow's head. And if you feel squeamish about this picture, you can skip it. And then the next part is humor. So we ask people another question. What do you do professionally? Say it. They say, I'm a civil engineer, I'm a Sunday school teacher, I'm a dancer. And then I show this picture of the yogi with the soul leaving his through his head. I say, really, this guy used to be a civil engineer. Or, yeah, this guy used to be a Sunday school teacher. Or, yeah, this guy used to be a dancer. And then what do? They laugh at 50% of the time. And the other 50% of the time they say, really? And then you say, no, not really. And then they go, ha, ha, ha. And just as they're laughing, that's when you hand the book back. And so say, ha, ha, ha. And now as I'm handing the book back, I have something more to say as I'm handing it. I say, we don't sell it like in a bookstore. Now watch as I'm handing back. Say, ha, ha, ha. We don't sell it like in a bookstore. So now that's important as I'm saying this. Now watch the timing. As I'm handing the book back, I'm saying, we don't sell it. That's the words they want to hear. That's when the book's halfway to their hand. We don't sell it. And they're going, okay, hand, go ahead. You can take it. Hand's going, can I take it? And you go, we don't sell it. And you go, all right, take it. We don't sell it like at a bookstore. We just ask for a donation. Now comes the rest of the mantra. They have the book in their hand now. And you say, we don't need the money. Watch me. Use your hands. We don't need the money. The only reason we ask that it's an ancient tradition. When you give something in return for spiritual knowledge, it connects you to the previous teachers who have passed it down. Work with me now. Passed it down over many generations and allows you to enter deeply within the knowledge, and then point to the book. Okay, let's try it again. We don't need the money. Just repeat after me. We don't need the money. The only reason we ask, it's an ancient tradition. When you give something in return for spiritual knowledge, it connects you to the previous teachers who have passed it down over many generations and allows you to enter deeply within the knowledge. Want to try it again? You all do it. Just read it off the script, but use your hand gestures. Ready? One more time. One more time. Okay, then you can always say, if you like, you can always say how much it costs. It costs $10 to print, ship, and anything you give over that is a donation. Or you can just let them give whatever they want to give. You can go either way. And you can practice both ways. When you say it costs $10 to print, to ship, then it gives them something for their mind to shoot for. Because oftentimes the reason people don't give donations is because they're thinking, I don't know what to give. So if you give them something to shoot for, you say $10, then they'll give more than $10. You say you give anything you give over that as a donation, or they'll give less and then they'll say, is this okay? But at least it gives them a range. Or you can just leave it open to them, either way. And a few comebacks, they say, I already know all about this. We say, that's great, I could tell by looking at you. Okay, so I say, I already know all about this. Or I say, I know, that's why I picked you out. I could tell. You look like somebody who knows everything about everything. And then I'm a blank. I'm a Buddhist, I'm a Muslim, I'm a Christian. Okay, so, oh great, I'll show you this one. So now, when I hand you this book, you hand it back as you'll say you're a Christian. Yeah, we don't, books on yoga and meditation shows you how to get free from stress. You say, no, okay, hand it back. He's a Christian. Oh, you're a Christian. Okay, here. Sorry about that. Here you go. Now, I'm just using it as a replacement. I'm not handing them the same book. I'm going to hand them a different book. But whatever they say, I'm a Buddhist, I'm a Christian, I'm a Muslim, don't force them to take the book. Once their hand starts rejecting it, once they've rejected it, take it. Respect their rejections, respect their objections. Always honor their objections and honor their rejection. Don't resist, because whatever you resist will grow. It'll just make them more determined to resist it. So as I'm handing it, and I notice they're resisting, their hand's already coming back, I just take it right back. Go with the flow. This is the martial arts or Aikido of book distribution. Take it back, go with their flow, and then hand them another one. They will take a different book. And then you start giving context. You say, yeah, this is one of the times to use this mantra that if there were more people like you in the world, it'd be a better place to live. Like I was in front of the museum in Toronto, and I handed the book. Someone said, oh, I'm a Christian. And so I gave him a different book. I said, if there were more people like you in the world, more people of faith, it would be a better world to live in. You're what's keeping the world alive. And he took the book. So just replace it with something else. Are you selling this? Anybody ever ask you this? Here's the answer. We refuse to sell it. It's too valuable. We just take a donation. And be adamant. They say, are you selling this? We refuse to sell it. It's too valuable. We only take a donation. Okay, how much should I donate? We try to keep it under 100, but in your case, we're thinking about making an exception. Okay, so when you get the donation, then you teach them the Maha Mantra. You can ask them this question, do you believe in the power of prayer? Say it. They say yes, and you move on. They say no, and you say, perfect, I'll teach you a mantra instead. So, do you believe in the power of prayer? Yes. No? Perfect, I'll teach you a mantra. Do you believe in the power of prayer? Say yes. Perfect. Repeat after me. There's a beautiful prayer. It's meant to wake up love for God in your heart. You show them the mantra card and you say, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare. And then you give them prasadam. So they get the book, they give a donation, they learn the mantra, and then you give them prasadam at the end. And then you get their contact information if they're up for that. And then you thank them for taking their valuable time. So the way you do that is to say, thank you for taking your valuable time. And if it's appropriate, you shake their hand and say, it's been a pleasure meeting you. Leave them with a good impression. And our prime directive is what? Very good. So I'm going to just go through the steps really quick, and then what we're going to do is stand up and practice going through these steps. These cards you can pass out. Actually, we'll pass them out when you stand up. And you're going to go through one rep as you're facing each other, where one person presents and uses this template. And then stop. We'll see if there's a couple of questions, and then we'll go the other way, okay? Are you ready? Say yes. Yes. Okay. Here are the steps. Radar. Qualify. Trust the hand. Give a nutshell presentation. Show and tell. Compliment. Humor. Engage. First thing is radar. Use your hand. Hi, 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 hi. You meet a ripe fruit, then you go, hey, I'm from California. Where are you from? Or you say, I'm from Chennai. Where are you from? And they're like, I'm from California. California, I love California. When I was just in Tokyo, everybody's practically Japanese in Tokyo. I walk up to people on the street and I go, are you Japanese? They go, I'm Japanese. I go, fantastic, this is for you. So when you qualify them, it's like, I'm from California, where are you from? They tell you where you're from. Just appreciate the place they're from, wherever it is. I'm from Connecticut. Bulls, Bears, people from Connecticut. Fantastic. I love Connecticut. This is from San Francisco to Connecticut. That's the whole thing. It's the whole context where you're from. Trust the hand, you put it in their hand, but while you're handing the book over, as it's making its arc, books on yoga meditation that show you how to get free from stress. Bring out your hook. You've heard of stress before, right? They say yes. You say, really? You don't look stressed. You look spiritual. Here comes the biggest hook of all. What's your secret? Say it. Yes. And now take the book back for show and tell. Here, I'll show you how fast. Yes. On the back, we're just name dropping. Thoreau, Gandhi, Emerson, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Einstein, the Beatles, and Tupac Shakur. Don't forget Tupac. Okay, now show them the Sanskrit inside and say, can you read this? And they say no. So I was just testing you. Don't worry, it's all been translated in English, and over 400 translations, and out of all of them, these have become the most popular in universities. Now what are you showing them? The universities in front of the book. You can show them USC, Georgetown University. Next, you show them a picture, changing bodies, and say, look, we start here, we end up there, we're just passing through. Where are you in all this? Next, that's the next question. They show you, and then you say, here, look at this. A self-realized person treats everyone with... That's the key word, because he or she sees God within everyone's heart. Next, another question. You've heard of karma, right? What does it mean to you? Whoa! I love the way you put things. What a great explanation. If there were more people like you in the world, it'd be a better place to live. Now, I asked them, what do you do professionally? Software engineer? What kind of software? What kind of computer science? What kind of hardware? What kind of chips? What kind of microchips? What brand? What? Broadcom? Listen. This guy used to be in Broadcom. The more specific you can make it, like if somebody says, you know, I'm a teacher, what kind of teacher? I teach zoology. Get out of here. This guy used to teach zoology. That's when they laugh. And as soon as they laugh, then you hand the book back. When you hear the ha, 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 that's when you know you're handing the book back. And you're handing the book back. And as you hand it back again, as the book's making its arc, you say, we don't sell it like in a bookstore. We just ask for donation. Are you ready for the next part? Let's do it together. We don't need the money. The only reason we ask, it's an ancient tradition. When you give something in return for spiritual knowledge, it connects you to the previous teachers who have passed it down over many generations and allows you to enter deeply within the knowledge. And then you could say, it costs us $10 to print and ship and store. Anything you give over that is a donation. And then they give a donation. And then you can, at the next point, give them the Maha Mantra. You believe in the power of prayer? Say yes. I'll teach you this beautiful prayer meant to wake up love for God in your heart. You teach them the Maha Mantra. Then you say, this is for being so nice. And you give them some prasadam. Do we have prasadam to give out today? Yes. Say yes. Malini? Malini? Say yes. Okay. All right. So then give them prasadam. That's self-explanatory, and then get their contact information. And lastly, thank them for taking their valuable time and say, it's been a pleasure meeting you, shake their hand. A prime directive is? Okay, so now we want to see how organized you are, how efficient you are. So stand up in the open space back there and face each other. Find one partner facing. And on one side, someone should have a Bhagavad Gita in their hand. On the other side, someone should have nothing in their hands. And the world record so far in getting set up is 60 seconds. See if you can beat it. On your mark, get set, go. Do what you have to do to organize the room to make it available. $30 seconds. 25. 20 seconds. 10. Move things out of the way. If something's in your way, move it out. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2. Okay, are you ready? Say yes. Vrinda, Monisha, can you come here? Here. Make sure everybody who's got a book gets one of these. What happened? Yeah. If you're ready, raise your hand. If you're ready, raise your hand. If you're ready, raise your hand and say Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Okay. Now, okay, look over here just for a second. Now watch how I'm standing. Look over here. Okay. Now here's what I see many devotees doing. They got the book out like this, and they're walking down the street. People see him coming from a mile away, and they go, okay, cross the street before we get to that guy. But what you want to do is keep the book out of your hands. So they're thinking, oh, the guy can't hurt me. He doesn't have any books in his hands. You can either keep it in your arm like this, or you keep it on the table, or you keep it in your book bag. It's not visible. It's not in your hand like this, like you're trying to attack somebody with it. And also, best is to hang back, because you're actually looking for the ripe fruits. You don't have to chase after them. So you see how I'm standing? Stand like this. You got to be cool as a cucumber in an icebox. And stand back. And then from here, you're high, 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 high. Don't be chasing after people. High, high, high. Just stay back and then watch and see who's out there. See who looks at you. And once you see them respond, then you can use your mantras to continue the conversation. Okay. Do you all are you all ready to go? Whose book is this? Oh, yours. You got 2. Okay, so don't give them any trouble. You are receiving. You're not meant to give them obstacles. Don't give them, curveballs. Give them straightforward, and if they forget something, help them through. What you're trying to do right now is just get one repetition of saying what's on the card. Go through it as quickly as possible, and just try to do the reps. Don't think about it, just do it. And you help them go through it if they forget something, so you go through it fast. So just take a couple minutes, okay? Is everybody ready? Yes. Say yes. On your mark, get set, distribute. Hare Krishna. When you finish one repetition, then stop. Don't go the other way yet. Did you finish one rep? If you finish one rep, raise your hand. If you can hear me, 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 raise your hand. How many of you have not finished one rep that is going one way? Raise your hand. Okay, take one more minute and finish. Okay, before we go the other way, and if you haven't finished, that's okay, just stop for 1 second. Before we go the other way and have the other person distribute, then I just want to see if you have any questions or any hang-ups that you're running into. Questions, hang-ups? Yes.
Like when we are talking about the Bhagavad Gita, we are the philosophy, we are not touching anything on the philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita. Or the only thing that we are from the book that we are telling is about the reincarnation, the concept. We are starting here, we are ending here, and we are passing through this. And where do you? And we are starting here, we are ending here, and we are passing through this. Where do you? Where are you in this? So that is the only thing that we are talking from the book, from the Bhagavad Gita.
Yes, it's a very deep concept that most people very much appreciate. Although we've seen the changing bodies many, many times, when you show it to other people, it's a revelation. They see it for the first time. And that's one of the very important aspects of Bhagavad Gita, is we're on a continuum. So basically, yes, we're giving the essence of the philosophy. We're also bringing up karma as well. So these couple of things are giving the basic philosophy of Bhagavad Gita, and you don't need to give them a lot more than that in order for them to appreciate and take the book. There's no harm in teaching other things, but I suggest you learn this template because it will work everywhere, every time, to all the people that you meet, and you'll be very satisfied with it. And after you learn to use this template, which flat out works, then you can innovate in any other way that you like, and you can start bringing up more intricate philosophy and see if they appreciate it. Okay? All right. Any other things before you go the other way? Yes.
So we are not allowed to speak our own realizations on Bhagavad Gita, Maharaj?
Yes, you may speak all your realizations to the whole world. I just recommend that you learn this template and then work off the template to innovate after that. Because once you have a basic track and you know how it works, then you can start inserting things. Like learning playing an instrument. First you learn your scales, then you can start playing jazz and everything else. Okay? So let's go the other way. And if you haven't finished, then finish up going one way and then go back the other way. And we're going to take 5 more minutes. So just get the rep in and make sure you practice it one time, because we're going to go out and we're going to touch the pavement. We're not going to distribute any books, but if you feel like it after you touch the pavement, then you can try doing this if you feel like it. On your mark, get set, go. Hare Krishna. If you're not finished with going both ways, then raise your hand if you still need a little more time. 2 people? Okay, 30 more seconds. Finish up. And then everyone else can start sitting down. Take your seats back here again. And if you're still in the middle of your presentation, just finish it up while everyone else is sitting down. Somebody collect the Bhagavad Gitas from everybody and put them back in the box. Srivatsa, help collect the Bhagavad Gitas. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gaur Premanande Haribo. Now just take a few questions or reflections you have from the presentation. Places where you thought there was a gap or you weren't sure about what to do. Yes, Srivatsa Prabhu.
Srivatsa. In the past, sometimes when I tell people about how self-realized people are able to see God in everyone, and they're atheists, they start challenging the philosophy and they start coming right at you.
Then I put in that presentation spirit. So oftentimes if you eliminate the word God from your vocabulary when you're talking to people in the Bay Area and at some other places, in Illinois it'll work okay. You can say God all day long if people take the book. But in California, generally if you say God, then that's a buzzword that irritates them. So this self-realized person treats everybody with respect because she sees the spiritual value of everyone. And to just change God to spiritual. And that should usually be acceptable because that can even be accommodated sometimes by atheists. They can justify the idea of being spiritual as being, pardon? No, what was it? Yeah, mindful, something like that. Yeah. What else? Any other points? Yes? You got to use the mic.
Suppose when we get some mothers or parents of children, so can we emphasize that will help your kids? Bhagavad Gita will help your kids.
Yes, you may. And just after this, somebody find some WD-40 and put it on the hinges of that door, please, before it's too late. Yes, Prabhu? Was this about the WD-40 or somebody? Okay, go ahead. Get him a mic back there.
I got it. I had a question, Prabhu, when doing a one-to-one session here.
Yes.
So I was when I was showing the picture of a yogi, he was also a software engineer, and then he said, "What happened to this person after this?" I mean,
who said that?
He asked me.
You don't give him don't give him trouble. Nobody says that. Everyone laughs. 50% of the people laugh, and the other 50% of the people say, "Really?" And then you say, "Not really," and then they laugh. It's funny. and people get it. It's really funny. So don't worry about that, and also don't worry about special cases. Everyone has some idea in their mind of some special case that comes up. They're 1 in 1,000 or 1 in 100. It doesn't matter. You're looking for the general presentation, and sometimes people have objections. They'll fall into a particular category. You'll learn how to deal with those things. But those very specific, special things that somebody made up just to throw you off, they're not that important. But in general, the principle is if somebody gives an objection, then honor the objection. Appreciate it. Like if somebody says, what's a common objection? I didn't have time, or something like that. It's like, I can appreciate that. You look like a very productive person. You're probably really busy, right? I'm honoring the objection rather than saying, no, yeah, you should take some time, or something like that. Then they'll resist it more. Anything else? Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. So we saw that there are four color plates that we can show. One is the changing bodies, then a self-realized person seeing everyone with respect, then the law of karma, as well as the man meditating. So while speaking to one particular person, it may get time consuming if we try to show all four of them. So which ones are most important? How do we make out which will have
most important
impact?
is the changing bodies, and also just ask them about karma. You only have to actually show them one color plate. If you show them, so look, we're passing through, life's like a quick journey, right? And then after that, you just say, you've heard of karma. They say yes, and you say, what does it mean to you? It says, what goes around comes around. So I go, you're amazing. If more people thought like you, it'd be a better world to live in. What do you do professionally? You can cut right to that. And also, if you walk up to somebody and you show them the Bhagavad Gita, and they say, Bhagavad, you got to be looking for this. How much is it? And it's like, hold on a second, I got to do my thing. No, and you start going through the whole thing. No, just as soon as you see daylight, go for it. Halfway through the thing, so how much, are you selling it? No, if we won't sell it. We refuse to sell this. It's too valuable. We just take a donation. And we don't need the money. The only reason you ask, when you give something, and meanwhile they're digging in their pocket, they're giving, you don't have to then, drag out the rest of your presentation. Use your common sense. This is, it's one complete presentation, but it can be parsed. You can break it into pieces and present it in any way that you see fit. And that's where the genius comes in. But at least it gives you a track. Because when you get out there and there's live bullets flying and people are going every which way, your mind kind of goes a little haywire. What do I do now? And I see devotees all the time. They learn the presentation here, they get on the street, and they start doing something else completely different. I recommend, at least while you get out there, try to do this all the way through until you get it down one rep. And that's when I guarantee that you're going to sell the book. I don't guarantee it if you make up your own stuff. Don't come crying back to me that it doesn't work. I was like, what doesn't work? All the stuff you made up. Just follow this. You follow this, and I promise you'll sell Bhagavad Gitas out there, and people will take them. Do it just like I said, and it'll work. And then you'll start to see why it works. And then you can start innovating and changing it, doing whatever you want, and you'll be off on your own. Okay? Otherwise, you can just stick to this, and you'll just sell books day after day after day. And when that gets boring, you can try something else. Okay? Yes. 2 more, and then we'll go out.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. When we are showing it to Indians, usually some of them, they say...
Oh, yes. Thanks for bringing that up. So with Indians, I wanted to point out that I don't show them a book because it's an insult to their intelligence. So I mean, it's like if I stood in America, I started selling Bibles and say, here's the Bible, like it's, people are like, what are you talking about? I already know the Bible. So with Indians, when you thrust a book at them, they're taking it as you're trying to bring them back to something they have guilt about that they're not following anyway. And it gets really complicated in their minds. So don't offend them. Don't complicate their lives. What I do when I meet Indians is I don't hand them a thing. I just stand there and talk to them, and I tell them what we're doing, and I acknowledge the fact that they know more than me. That's a standard principle with anybody. They're the guru. I'm just explaining what they already know. That's the psychology. And with Indians, I just tell them, like, as you know better than I, the Bhagavad Gita solves the problems of life from a spiritual level. I'm not handing it to them. And I say, but what we're doing is we're making Bhagavad Gita available to people all over the world. And not only in English, but also in Russian and Japanese and Chinese. And we're setting up centers to teach Bhagavad Gita to help people all over the world. So what we're doing out here is a fundraiser. And for those who already know about Bhagavad Gita like you, your mother knows Bhagavad Gita, your grandmother memorized the Bhagavad Gita, we just asked for money. We just asked for a donation. And you didn't hand them anything, so it's not tit for tat. You're not giving back for something. You're just telling them what you're doing and saying, then we ask you for donation. It's a fundraiser. And Indians, when you do that, they'll be very happy to give you a donation. They'll give you lots of money. And then after they give the donation, then you can pull out the book and say, here, and by the way, this is for you. And they'll be very pleased to take more. So even when I go to doors and I meet Indians, unless I'm selling sets of Bhagavatams, I resist from handing them things because that's what ruins it for them. It becomes a mental block. Does that help? Indians are different.
Yes, Prabhuji.
It's different. It's a cultural thing. Yes.
Usually, whenever I see Indians, I usually try to show as if kids are trying to present and encourage them. So they are also thinking, okay, let me encourage the kid to present Bhagavad Gita. In that process, they're learning about Bhagavad Gita, and then they take Bhagavad Gita as well. So.
Okay, that's nice. That's also very innovative and a genius that's come from Krishna.
How much eye contact of that person is important in selling the book? Like eye contact. Sometimes when we present Gita, they are saying something else. They are saying time. They are saying. So
you should be aware of that. If they look at their watch, that's a real sign that you should cut to the chase. So that means if you're talking to somebody, you say really quick and they look at their watch and you say, so I'll just finish up right now because I think you have to go. And they'll go, yeah, I got to go. And it's like, okay, we don't sell it. We just take a donation. Boom, just finish right there. So be very aware of what their body language is and how they're moving. And then 1, 2.
Prabhuji, I was thinking that, is it okay, like many times when we see Indians, we tell them not to just take one. We talk to them about Mortal Gita.
Yes, always selling bunches like bananas.
Yeah.
Yes.
Advaita gave me this example, and I think I have a question. Like when at the last part, they say engage donation, right? But
engage donation, yes.
Yeah. So, but what if they say in the middle, I don't want the book?
Well, then they don't want the book. That's okay. You can take it back. And the reason it says engage and then it has the donation, the reason we're asking for donations is we don't need the money. That's a fact. That's why we're saying that. We don't need the money. Krishna will supply money in any which way in order for us to spread the Krishna consciousness movement. The reason we ask is, in the Gita, Krishna says, don't give this to somebody who's not devoted or austere. So how are you going to tell? And if you ask for donation, they give something in return, then that's an austerity. And it also shows a little bit of devotion. Also, if they give their undivided attention, but they don't have any money at the end, that's okay too. They gave their attention. They paid attention. That's why we use that phrase. And then you can use your discretion and say you can keep it anyway. What we don't want to do is give it to people who aren't interested in it. We want to find good homes. And generally when somebody gives something in return, anything, then it makes them more attached to the book because they gave something in exchange. And your specific question was, if they say, no, I don't want the book, then just take it back. Always honor their objection. And if the energy is coming back at you, take it. Don't try to force it on them because it won't stay. It'll just build up even more. You can always, if they give the book back, as I mentioned before, if they hand this one back, just without saying anything, just hand them the next size. You can give them a Sri Upanishad or something else. I had a guy, I was in Hong Kong and I was down by the wharf, and some guy, he was very cynical, but I kept showing him. And I showed him one book, he handed it back, I showed him another book, I showed him another book, and because they were different books, he kept taking them in his hand. And I got to the 7th book, and he finally just reached in his pocket and gave a donation. And so you'll find that oftentimes this will work. But if someone just says no and they're not interested, leave them with a good impression. Thank them for taking their valuable time. Our goal isn't to sell a book to every person. It's to make a positive interaction with them and leave them with a good impression. So if they want to get away, let them get away clean. And leave them with a strong impression that you cared about them, not about winning in the transaction. You didn't have to win the transaction to be their friend. Does that make sense? Does that help? Okay. Yeah, let them go. And what you'll find is that keeps the atmosphere clean. And you'll be in a nice, blissful state of mind because you're detached. Because you're thinking, Krishna will send me the people. I don't have to convince every person. If somebody rejects it, that's fine too. Just don't grab onto that rejection energy. Let it go. And what will happen then is all kinds of miraculous things will start happening. You'll see the miracle. 2 more and then we better go, huh, Malini?
Yeah, Hare Krishna Maharaj. So generally we have seen that Western count is fast moving. So I have seen devotees to attract them, they say, oh, nice haircut, man. Okay, so
nice what?
Nice haircut or nice hat, yeah. Or I mean something like that to attract. But generally they don't. When you say hi, generally they don't stop. They just move ahead because the crowd is moving. So
generally they don't stop, but you'll notice that there's a ratio that do.
Okay,
that's the whole point. The point isn't if you say hi, everyone's going to stop. That's not what I said. What I said was you're selecting out of the crowd the ones that, when you shoot your radar, I specifically mentioned when the policeman, highway patrolman is shooting his radar gun, he doesn't get everybody. He gets 1 out of 1,000. So when you're standing down on the street or wherever you are and you say hi, 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 everyone's going to go by except for the ones you want to talk to. And they're going to look at you and go, hi. And like they're open, they're ripe fruits. That's when you start talking to them.
Yeah, understood, Maharaj. But I have seen also that even if they say hi to us, they are still moving. So we generally go little with them, okay, and then when we start, they stop. Is that how?
So now you say, now that's when you ask them a question, because a question is a. Right, so if you want to catch somebody, use a hook. So here's 2 hooks to use. So you're looking, you say hi, and they smile. They're still moving a little bit. I say, California, where are you from? Or Burlingame, where are you from? Chennai, where are you from? India, where are you from? And then they'll say such and such, right? Burlingame, where are you from?
I'm from India.
India? Oh, I love India. Now here's another hook. You see this? Watch. Watch this. Watch. It's irresistible. People can't resist this. When you put your fist out like this, it's a very non-committal handshake. And from across the street, sometimes I'll go like this, and people are like, all right, and they'll come through traffic, risking life and limb. It's like, okay, I got it. Because people want that. They want a little connection with another living entity, and you're going like, huh? Here I am. Come on now. And they're like, yeah, all right, you know. And so then once you get them over there, then you're saying where they're from. You say, you know, you're from Illinois. You can ask them again. You're from India. You say, I love India. Great. This is from America to India. Books on yoga and meditation shows you how to get free from stress. You've heard of stress before, and you're off with your presentation, which has intermittent questions, which holds the whole thing together. It's just like when you put the yeast in a cake. You know, it holds the whole thing together. So the whole thing it's a structured house. It has all the questions and all the presentations that you need to live in a decent house. Okay? So use the question as a hook. Like, so I'm from India. Where are you from? I'm from Illinois. Illinois? Are you serious? You're from Illinois? Ask them again. Yeah, fantastic. I love Illinois. Great. This is from Chennai to Illinois. Books on yoga and meditation shows how you get free from stress. You've heard of stress before, right? Really, you don't look stressed. You look spiritual. What's your secret? You know, and you go on from there, and you're off and running. What else? Was the last question? Yes.
Some people say that they have been reading Bible. So is there any way we can connect Bhagavad Gita to Bible?
Sure. It's all about God. But the main thing is, when somebody says, I'm reading this or I'm reading that, they're saying, I already have something. So again, you honor the objection. So if someone says, I'm reading Bible, say, I could tell you look spiritual. That's one of the things that you tell people when they use a particular thing to tell you that they're not interested, basically. They say, I already do this, I already do that, I already have this. And you're like, I know, I could tell by looking at you. You know, if there were more people like you in the world reading the Bible, it would be a better place to live. It's people of faith like you that are keeping the world afloat. So acknowledge immediately whatever designation or objection that they offer, you fully acknowledge it, you appreciate it, and then it leaves an opening for you to present what you have. Once you honor what they have, then you can present what you have. And if you reject it, that's just what they're resistant to. That everyone's walking around and they have a little protective shell around them because this is my identity, this is who I am, and if you challenge that and you don't honor it, they will not be open to what you have to offer. So you have to be beyond ecumenical. You have to be downright universal and appreciate where everybody's coming from. And that's one of the reasons that this is high sadhana. You have to develop that kind of vision, and you have to extract the spirit from the matter. You have to extract the pure devotion from the mixture of everything else that anybody has that's going on. And you'll find that little spark in there, and you just fan it. And once you fan it, then miracles happen by Krishna's arrangement. Krishna's in there helping you. He's sitting in their heart going, yeah, take it, take it, take it, take it, take it, take it. And they're like, who said that? You know, and like, you're going, you take it. And Krishna's going, you take it. And they go, all right, I'll take it, you know. So it's a transcendental process. It's a transcendental process. You have to depend on Krishna. You have to be ready for it. And you go out and you practice, and you'll see. It'll all come together, and it's like a symphony happening out there. And you'll realize that I'm part of something way bigger than myself. It's not all about me. There's 5 factors to every action. You go out and depend on Krishna and do the best you can, and Krishna will supply the people. That's why you'll feel a relationship with the Lord by doing this kind of work. It's because like it's not me that's doing it. Krishna's arranging these things. I'm insignificant. I don't know how to do it. So now we have the opportunity to go out and touch the pavement. That means we're not going out distributing any books today. We're just going out to see if we can move from this place to the place that we're designated to go. And once we touch the pavement, then we're done for the day, right, Malini? And if you want to try anything after that, it's completely up to you, and it's completely extra. No expectation of selling a book, performing, doing well. Just feel free to have fun today.
I must say that I have used this exact same lines that Vaisheshika Prabhu has given for all these years. I don't have any different presentation, and every time it works. So I encourage all of you to try the exact same lines, even though you have some different ones. Try that, as Prabhu said. You'll see that it works all the time. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for giving us an enlivening session.
Yeah, she never asked for her money back.
Okay. The next part, we want to leave at noon from ISP temple to different locations. We already have assigned all the spots for everybody. There are 14 spots. And we have sent it out for the devotees at ISV. We have sent the locations yesterday night with the leaders. And we request all of you to sign up ahead of time, because a lot of devotees have signed up. We don't want everybody to end up in the same location. So not more than 7 to 8 devotees in each location. So if you can please sign up, that would be nice. And devotees can now proceed towards prasadam, and they can meet back in the temple area in front of the deities at 11:50, where we can tell you which spot you're going, who is your leader, we'll introduce you, all those things. So you can take prasadam and meet here at 11:50. And I request all the leaders to stay back for a few minutes so we can just tell you where you're going and who is going with you. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. And 5:45 we will stop the Sankirtan. We'll be back at the temple by 6:30 p.m. And your leaders will tell you all the details. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. And tomorrow the presentations start at 9 a.m. and more information will be sent on the WhatsApp group as well.
Vanchakalpadurusha kripasanabhevacha patitanam pavanibhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha nantakoti vaishnavidniki jai. Go Premanande Haribo.